Hello there, welcome back to Backyard Ballistics. I've been doing many restoration videos recently since that allows me to provide some sort of scientific content while keeping people interested, and in this period nothing interests viewers more than the word restoration combined with a rusted object on a thumbnail. However, wherever there's people attention there's money, and wherever there's money there are scams. A lot of restoration videos on YouTube are in fact fake, and a few people have been commenting under my recent videos suspecting that they were fake as well. So I thought I'd make this video to make it easier to spot fake restoration content.
I'm gonna pull up my... Get my chat.
When you see it. I'll mostly be focusing on gun restoration, but most concepts apply to objects predominantly made of steel in general. I don't want to spread any hate nor upset anybody, so I won't show real content that I believe is fake, but only my reenactments. However, I give you the resources needed to tell them apart from genuine content. First of all, we need to agree on what we call fake. Well, generally, when we say that a restoration is fake, we mean that the object being portrayed was originally in good condition and then ruined on purpose by the content creator in order to make an appealing video. This is very common, and I'll soon explain why, but first, let's differentiate between what I call strong and mild fakes. A strong fake is one in which the look of the object is altered through a process different than natural decay phenomena. In its most common form, the item is covered in a mixture of dyes, pigments, binders and fillers, usually tailored to look like some form of corrosion product. It's basically painted over, often with commercially available products. You can usually spot this kind of scammy content quite easily just by looking carefully. For example, there is no reason for a plastic or rubber piece to become rust-colored, nor for a steel object to develop green or bluish corrosion products. If you see a steel object with green stuff on it, then what you're looking at is most certainly fake. Since products of corrosion in a natural environment can be of any shade of orange, red, brown and black, but not green, blue or bright yellow. Actually, there is one of my videos that unfortunately looks like it's a strong fake, and it's this gun. Look at the grips. Usually they're made of plastic or wood, so they definitely do not rust, and a few people pointed that out in the comments. However, on that specific model, the grips are actually made of stamped steel, so it was natural for them to rust together with the rest of the gun. Another thing that could give away one of these fakes is the presence of uncovered areas that have been missed during the application of brake rust. For example, a slings weevil could leave a shadow during spraying, and there's no natural process that would leave such an appearance. So we can conclude with high confidence that we're looking at some form of fake rust. Another way to spot the use of fake rust is to look at the condition of the metal surface once it is cleaned. If all the material that was on top of it is made up of corrosion products, there must be a proportional amount of metal missing. For example, rusting on this part was very superficial, so it's okay to find a relatively smooth surface underneath. Finding a smooth surface under this one will instead be incompatible with the amount of corrosion product. Now, mild fakes are harder to tell apart, but they are also less of a scam. What happens is that the content creator takes an item in good or fair condition and subjects it to the same decay processes that can occur naturally, often in an environment that causes them to happen over a much shorter period of time. This still means that guns or items in good conditions are deliberately damaged for the purpose of making a restoration video, but at least the damage is realistic and the recovery process genuine. In other words, you can still learn something useful from the video. It's a bit like fireman training. The fire is caused on purpose, but the actions used to manage it are exactly the same as if the fire broke out on its own. But I get it that you'd still rather watch something whose aging was also genuine rather than something that was ruined on purpose, mostly because we don't like the idea of being lied to. If the accelerated aging process is done properly, it's practically impossible to distinguish it from a natural one. It's a bit like artificial diamonds. They are made in a lab setting over the course of a few days instead of millions of years in the Earth's mantle. But if you do them right, the end result is practically undistinguishable. If the neglect that caused the decay happened over a relatively short period of time, the difference between genuine and fake is even more blurred. Just think about these. I could have buried some of these guns a few years ago just to do these videos now. It technically doesn't make any difference if it was me or somebody's granddad.
That's not good.
However, there are many giveaways that you can look for if you want to find out whether the item was deliberately damaged shortly before filming the video. First of all, corrosion that happens.
Just to pause this. They're like super far ahead. Like they're good in terms of standings probably, but this puts a big dent in it. This puts a big question mark in the rest of the season. We'll see what happens with Leclerc for the rest of the race. But Science being out and Leclerc, like this puts an interesting sputter in there. I don't know if it's gonna really do much but I think Science is right now in front of in the drivers' championship by like a small margin. So that's interesting. It's interesting to see where this goes.
But over many years looks different. Look for these lamps. They are very hard crystals of corrosion products and they take very long to form. This one was on the K98K I restored. Another one where you can clearly see them is the Model 91 Carcano and also the Steyr 1912 that I did last. In order to cause this rusting on purpose, I would have needed to start doing it before I even thought of doing YouTube. So if you see these, the decay was probably genuine. Another useful thing to look for is wood. While the average YouTube restorer can figure out how to speed up the corrosion of steel, aging wood realistically is much harder. I've even seen somebody char the wood. There is no natural decay process that I know of that makes wood look like that. I just really hope they didn't throw the whole gun in the fire, since that messes up heat treatment and can cause the bridge to fail. So look if wooden parts are convincingly aged. The next big giveaway is gun type. Some guns are by far more likely to be found in miserable conditions than others. For example, in Italy, but I think the same applies to the rest of Europe, the vast majority of guns being found buried or hidden in buildings are World War II era. This doesn't mean that it's impossible.
We'll see if the safety car goes properly this time, okay? The safety car last race didn't go well at all. See if it allows Leclerc to actually catch up or not.
Well, across newer firearms in bad conditions, but it's much less likely. You'll never find a recent and expensive gun buried underground or in a building. It just doesn't happen. Mainly because modern weapons are heavily tracked in Europe, so it's very unlikely for somebody with a license to stash away or lose one. It's just very uncommon to stumble across heavily rusted firearms made after, say, 1980. Military firearms are a bit different in that they can be worn out and have...
I don't care.
Yeah, it's something else.
We would watch this on MrGirl's channel, but it got removed, I think. I had the best POV, but... Now we just have to stare at WickedSupreme's face.
His analysis on why.
Our post is late.
Let's do this. Let's see the WickedSupreme's or...
If you actually watch his video, it's absurd. Yeah, I know, this was the guy giving us all kinds of guff.
I'm not setting a time limit. I also have other stuff to do. Let's figure this out on the stream.
Okay, I don't care. I have class in the morning, but that's in like 8 to 10. It's in like 8 hours. Well, no, it's about 10 hours. But you know, obviously, I have a feeling we won't be able to go 10 hours, but that's my limit.
10 hours? Coward.
I've done some epic conversations that have lasted a very long time in my time. I don't really care. I'm just happy to be here. But one thing I don't want to happen is for this to be a pissing contest for who leaves first.
You took me seriously.
For what?
You took me so. It's just. Oh, it's all good. Max, where are you? The nation is waiting. Several, in fact.
I do be clicking right now. I don't know if you guys see this. I do be clicking. You hear this? No, I guess I hear my. Mr. Goyle returns.
Wait, is he still banned on YouTube?
No, his MrGirl returns channel is still up.
Is he streaming? Is he streaming currently?
Not currently. Maybe he's running a little bit late.
Or still hasn't caught up?
No, hang on. He was live 4 minutes ago. He's got a MrGirl moderator present Sunday versus WickedSupreme rematch.
Oh, shit.
He's saying hi horses multiple times.
Claire wasn't allowed to catch back up. Okay.
His stream crashed. His computer crashed. People are telling us his computer crashed.
Come on, Kev, you can do this.
Copy. Focus and push. Yeah, couple.
You know what we could do? I don't know if you're amenable to this. We could just bring him into the Discord call and then just give him the VOD afterwards. And one of us could stream it.
Yeah, Leclerc.
Well, I'm streaming right now.
Yeah, but you're not streaming with all our faces, right? You're just
Remember,
streaming,
no overtaking
Correct.
until
No,
the
we'll
timing
wait.
line.
Copy that.
Claire's absolutely overtaking Latifi right now. Let's see if okay.
Hey man, I'm from Sunday's audience originally. I'm not down with the direction he's taken his channel lately. He used to do more video essay content. Some of it's quite good. Yeah, I had to watch his Why Centrism is Right-Wing video, you know, to prepare for today a little bit. And it's like a totally different vibe from our from the conversations he's been having. He sounds excited. He sounds fun. Yeah, I hope he gets back to it.
Make it right on the inside. Absolutely destroying
It
Magnussen.
was fun for me to watch.
No shot. Oh my god. You go for the overtake now.
Remember, overtake is available. Copy.
Mad Tips, shut the
that's
fuck
cool.
up.
I like that.
Pretending that you're above this shit. This is exactly
That's,
your shit, Mad
not
Tips.
really.
You're sticking around for exactly this. This is your type of content. We're gonna be talking about Kenosha. This is it. Am I a
There,
poli sci
guess,
major?
then we can
Hell
kinda see
no.
it.
Nope. I'm currently a theater major, but I've been
Jesus,
in
what's
school
happening?
basically my whole life. I have like hundreds of
We just
credits
are
from
cursed.
like a bunch of different institutions, and I just
There, high-tech
never felt like
solutions.
finishing a degree because I never needed it because I've always been super employable. But I love just like being in class and learning shit. So
God, why is that not? Can I make myself smaller here? Oh, I see. So I can do. There we go. That's what I want. Brilliant. That works. That'll do.
Ah, brilliant.
Sort of.
We just need DRS, but even that's not gonna happen.
what is the thumbnail from what movie again? No, it's not from a movie. It's from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's Quark. From Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Mr. Girl just went live. Let's take a look. It's the best Star Trek. Don't let anybody ever
Word
tell you
from
otherwise.
The girl.
I'm here. Applications at once.
Hello.
Oh, is it not working on your end, or?
No, it is, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah.
Took me an embarrassingly long time to figure that
Well, that's okay.
out. You're very quiet, Max. Just a heads up.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's just me.
I read that wrong.
Yeah, copy.
Read back off
You're
wrong.
better now. Might have been just me. The wear on my speaker earbuds
DRS
when
yet?
it's twisted in a certain
Probably
way.
after this lap, right?
Yeah.
Laps.
DRS enabled.
DS9 is the best? What's better than DS9? Huh? Loser? DS9 has the best
Overtake is
characters in the
available.
best situations. Can you show President Sunday on screen and turn up your volume? Sunday is a bit louder than you. See.
Oh wow. I guess I'll read these super chats while we're waiting for.
See what I can do.
Come on, Kev.
The Groypers
Hello.
tried to bring down the stream. No, it was me. I brought down my own stream.
Supreme's here.
Oh yeah, he's just muted.
I'm not muted.
We can't hear you.
Well, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it just wasn't.
You're
I
muted.
used push to talk, so I'm like bantering with my chat.
But yeah, I mean, I figured.
Oh, okay.
Tell Sunday I say hi and I harbor no ill will against him. Kissy face. I don't
Does
think
this?
I will. It doesn't.
TNG is a little bit dry.
Matters
I'm
a little
sorry.
bit.
TNG has
Matters
shit
a little
characters.
bit
You-
to me. A little bit. A little bit to
Well,
me.
the people are trying to. I'm sure it does.
Picard
We
is
don't
like
wanna let
the
people
reason to watch
stir the
TNG.
pot already.
Well, you guys should super chat me if you want me to answer that question.
I love Babylon 5.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You want to bother Sunday? Give him $5. Osama bin Slytherin versus President Rap God Runday. Let's go. Wow. Okay. Well, as I am presiding over these proceedings, are you ready, Supreme?
Sure.
Oh my god. Okay. Listen. Gonna give you guys the same rules I give Shaylin. Gonna run a tight ship. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be uncomfortable. But yeah, so what I noticed
You should
last
work on
time,
that, by the way. It's not that cool, dude.
Doing what you're doing.
well, yeah, maybe if I can moderate my panels like I handle my relationship and treat my girlfriend the way I treat my panels, my life would be better. Okay, so we're gonna how do I put this? Okay, I want this to be productive. And so first I want to start with a little meta conversation about exactly what we're doing. But I am going to be calling I'm going to be calling I don't even
But Max, we did agree. We did agree, and you agreed on 5-minute opening statements.
Yes, and I'm going to make mine right now. No, you'll have a chance to do your 5-minute opening statement, but first we have to establish this is a pre-debate meta conversation. So when I watched your last debate, I noticed a lot of barbed comments. Now, I'm against
the nature of opening statements is their opening.
I'm against I'm against the UFC. Okay, I'm against football. I think it's unethical to pay homeless people to fight each other in the street, film it, put it on YouTube. And to that effect, there is a limit to the amount of abuse, even if you are both consenting, that I will allow each of you to dole out. But given that, how friendly do you guys want this to be? Do we want this to be a good faith exchange of ideas, or do you want to insult each other like children on a playground and see who can make the other cry
Well done,
first?
Kev.
I want to have a productive conversation. However, it does bear mentioning that it was Wicked Supreme's choice that we were discussing whether or not he is a grifter, so that should be off the table as you consider
Absolutely,
insults.
sure.
Yeah.
That's that.
Right.
Yeah, the core argument can be he's a grifter. But that said, along the way, I would ask you guys to
I'm gonna get close to him and then charge
refrain
DRS for
from
a couple
calling
laps
each
and
other
then
stupid, implying that the other is stupid, implying that the other is bad faith or lying or whatever. Like if you want to say, hey, I don't believe that you are saying that, or I don't believe you believe that, that's fine. But the underhanded sniping or the overhanded sniping, I think we should avoid. Supreme, what do you think?
I'm happy to weather all insults. I don't care. And I try not to. I try to direct my insults towards conduct. I'm not necessarily for barring all insults, but whatever. If that's what we want to do, I'm okay abiding by that. But what I want is a substantive conversation. But we're doing a show for an audience as well, and something that can be fun. If President Sunday says, that's fine, I can weather that too, then we can make it a little fun too. I'm okay with.
Well, so now you're putting him in a jam where if he says he doesn't want to do it, he's saying I can't weather that. But I think there's plenty of other valid reasons he would say no to the proposal that you trade underhanded barbs, other than not being able to weather it. So Sunday.
Can I be brutally honest with you? I zoned out for a quick second. I didn't hear any of that, so I'll just blanket accept whatever Wicked said.
He said you guys are going to be kind of dicks to each other.
What's disappointing?
How about how would you like to use your discretion?
Well, can we kind of, for example, like laugh at the fact that this chair looks like it has a towel on it? Is that okay?
My what?
The chair looks like it has a towel in it. Like you're
Yeah, that's not offensive.
No. See, I don't like that. I think we shouldn't.
Thanks for looking out for my chair. Fuck, man,
It's not
what a
about your
friend.
chair. Yeah, well, it's not as your friend; it's as your moderator. I'll do the same. I'll do the same for Sunday.
I don't want to bore people. Listen, I really appreciate that you're like, I want to make this as rigorously about the topic as possible, and I'm into that. I'm fine with that. That's great, but I don't think that necessarily precludes any comment that isn't rigorously about the topic.
Yes, I'm
and
fine
if we
with
do
things
that, no one's
going
gonna fucking
off-topic.
want to watch.
I think if we can have a honest.
I think people
good
want to
faith-
watch that. I think people will watch
I think
that.
so too. I think you're
Okay, fine, sure.
You're selling the audience short. I think we should give them. A good
Have you
faith,
seen
honest
him?
conversation.
Jesus.
Poor
I don't think I
bastard,
am.
Poor bastard, MrGirl doesn't realize that we're colluding to take him down together tonight.
Oh no. Well, no, I have realized that. Okay. So, can each of you,
Increase, please.
and let's start with Sunday, since you made the tweet that started it all. Can each of you describe what this debate is about?
I can, but that's why I made a 5-minute opening statement, which I would like to just give.
Well, can we just describe the topic first?
Can you just say the topic first,
Well,
and then I want Supreme to
Wicked Supreme has asked that the topic be about whether or not he is a right-wing grifter. I find
What
that
do
a
you
very...
think- What is the topic? Just without saying who's asking or what. What are you saying the topic is?
whether Wicked Supreme is a right-wing grifter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we're breaking this down into, is Wicked Supreme right-wing, and is he in fact a grifter?
You wanted it, not me.
Okay, so Supreme, do you agree that this is what we're talking about?
Yeah, and I came
Claire's already
prepared
right behind
to
us.
discuss
Damn,
his
homie.
video about why
Oh.
centrism is right wing as well, and I
got
figured
us
you'd be
super fast
excited to
one.
talk about that, but we don't have to talk
From the
about
back all the way up.
I'm more excited to talk about that than talk about whether you're a right-wing grifter, to be totally honest with you. This is going to be pain.
Okay. So now we have 3
that. Okay,
topics.
he made the fucking accusation.
I think 4. Is liberalism
It's
inherently
Kane that he
right-wing?
has to. Okay.
Is centrism inherently right-wing, or doesn't even exist? Is Wicked Supreme liberal, centrist, or right-wing? And is Wicked Supreme
How the hell did
grifter?
Copy.
Claire fall all the way back?
Yep.
That's I'm seeing those all
Good
kind of
homie.
tangled together. We can approach them tangled, we can disentangle them, whatever you guys want. Okay. Sunday wanted the 5-minute opening statements. I think because of that, we should allow Supreme to go first if he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first?
How about an element
No,
of chance? Let's do rock, paper, scissors.
He's on the affirmative. He's supposed to go first.
Okay, well, Sunday, do you want to go first?
I'm indifferent. Your call.
Make sure you use some
Well,
energy. Copy.
If Supreme wants you to go first, you're abstaining from the vote.
I am.
That's 1-0. You're going first, Sunday.
Fuck. Alright, well, thank you, Max Wicked. So in my video, which you currently watched, Why Centrism is Right-Wing, I argue that the identifying factor that distinguishes between right and left is orientation toward past or existing social structures, continuous with the layout of the National Assembly in France during the Revolution, from which we get the terms left and right. The left is critical of existing structures, most notably the Crown in France, and treats them as only contingently necessary, if at all, and appropriate to be replaced once they've outlived their usefulness or become pernicious. The right, by contrast, fetishizes these structures as essentially necessary, either for their own sake or because they offer correctives to an equally essentialized conception of human nature. By tying their identity to the fixedness of these structures, the right also posits itself in similarly essentialized terms, and the so-called political spectrum rests on the tacit assumption that the difference between right and left is not a mutually exclusive binary, which it is, but rather merely a way of grading differences of policy positions along a continuum within a system which it quietly assumes to be a permanent fixture. Centrists, as the name implies, identify themselves with the middle point of that spectrum, and
Okay,
since
so
that
we can
spectrum
start
is
to close
suspended
the
by
gap.
an assumption of the right, i.e., that the system in which the policy positions it grades is a fixed and immutable fact of the world, the centrist in effect onboards an essential position of the right, in fact the essential position of the right, and excludes categorically an essential position of the left. When we realize that the system in question is the global system of liberal states, we see that liberals and centrists are for all intents and purposes the same. The diverse range of policy positions these may have and argue about, all resting on the same methodological assumption that the system is absolute. Now, in our last conversation, my opponent took umbrage with my calling liberal content creators in 2022 grifters. This is easily established in his case. Wicked Supreme calls himself a centrist and a liberal in order to distinguish himself from the right, and justifies this by gesturing at policy preferences that align with those of notable left-wing actors. Yet after watching his content, and in fact even during our initial debate, one notes very quickly that his reflexive attitude to politics is to prioritize the law of the state and property over human life and freedom, hence his self-characterization as a quote-unquote status quo Andy when it comes to policing in America, as well as his
Look, I'm not
assertion
even,
that protests cease being protests
I'm
after
barely
dark,
faster.
and his reflexive concerns
with
regarding
DRS
immigration,
enabled.
even in the United States, where access is heavily restricted by law, being the discomfort of the incumbent population, disregarding, of course, that we sit here
I'm not
because
gonna
of
get
the
DRS on this
imperial
right away.
privation of indigenous
Oh my
territory,
God.
and that large parts of our respective
Look,
current
well, he's
populations
got
were
DRS
brought
on
here
it.
as either de facto or de jure slaves. He also regularly cites the difference between undocumented and
Oh, you don't have DRS
documented
on the
immigration to
other
sanitize his position,
Oh.
thereby demonstrating additionally his ignorance that liberals once opposed the mandate of documentation to license one to cross borders when it was first proposed, because the liberal principle of consent of the governed requires the principle of tacit consent, i.e., you choose your sovereign by choosing your location. This was once a revolutionary idea. The border as an ethnic filter, which by insisting on the significance of the legal/illegal immigrant distinction Wicked himself tacitly defends, is defended with the same fetishistic fervor as the Crown in France once was. He is demonstrably a grifter because despite insisting that the role of content creators is to deal with ideas, he demonstrated in our previous debate that he is totally unaware not only of the substance of what has been said on these issues by those who have the most influential concerning them, but even of their existence, falling back as people like intend to do on repeating policy stances he has absorbed from the online ecosystem he finds most hospitable, hack debates with know-nothing internet personalities desperate for attention and internet clout. People like Wicked Supreme want to be seen talking about important things like rights, but he doesn't care to know anything first to make sure he's not carrying water for bad actors. I quote from Martin Luther King Jr. in a letter from Birmingham jail, quote, I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in the stride toward freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to quote-unquote order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, quote, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I can't agree with your methods of direct action, unquote, who paternalistically feels he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by the myth of time and who constantly advises the Negro to wait until a, quote, more convenient season, unquote. As a final quick note, I resent the circumstances of this conversation and the public insinuations made by my interlocutor that I was attempting to skirt this conversation by requesting an additional day to recover from illness brought on by a natural disaster and make additional preparations given the addition of a moderator with whom I have a documented history of hostile engagement. He has successfully disappointed my already low expectations. I look forward to him demonstrating his consistency in his reply.
Wait, am I the moderator who you have a documented history of hostile engagement?
I do. I don't hate you, Max.
Okay.
We do, objectively.
You said you hated me once. Okay, Wicked Supreme and I also have a documented history of hostile engagement. I just want to put that out
brothers!
there, but... Okay. Alright. Supreme, do you want to make an opening statement? Do you want to respond to that? Or do you want to... What do you want to do?
Can I ask questions before I do my opening statement, or should I?
No.
It's not an opening
Then
statement.
opening statement. Or respond to what about?
I'm just saying, do you want a chunk of time to talk uninterrupted, or do you want to start?
Yeah, I'd like an opening statement.
Okay.
The topic of this debate is that I am a right-wing grifter. 5 days ago, President Sunday tweeted, "Show me a liberal content creator in 2022, and I'll show you a right-wing grifter hedging their bets." That same night, he agreed to defend this position and how it applied to me. 2 hours before the scheduled debate, he searched my YouTube channel in a scramble to substantiate the accusation, and found my second most recent YouTube video titled "Why I'm Not on the Left." Jackpot. The substance of the video, however, is how certain complex topics and events tend to get highly politicized and categorized as essentially a right-wing position or essentially a left-wing position, when in reality, a given individual can identify with either side of the American bimodal majority and find themselves taking any number of positions based on how that individual interprets that event or topic and based on how that individual prioritizes their values. That individual may feel that those values represent left-wing or right-wing ideals. I offer 2 examples that highlight this phenomenon: abortion and Kyle Rittenhouse's actions at the Kenosha unrest of 2020 in that video. I mentioned in the video that one thing dishonest ideologues will do is take a person's position on something like Kyle Rittenhouse and use that position to claim that the individual must obviously accept a slew of other positions commonly associated by partisan political lines. In short, because you defend Kyle Rittenhouse, therefore you must believe X, Y, and Z, which makes you a right-winger. Again, the substance of the video is criticizing people who do this. I don't know why my editor titled the video "Why I'm Not on the Left," but I decided not to change it and let the video serve as a test of integrity for anyone who would comment on it based on the title. When we began our discussion, President Sunday started by claiming I must be a right-winger because of my position on Kyle Rittenhouse. He had watched the video impatiently, just before the debate, waiting for me to deliver his silver bullet that I must be a right-winger as the title implied, apparently missing the entire criticism I was making, and instead accepting that this is a valid way to analyze and interpret an individual's politics is on one general position of a complex issue, even completely devoid of any understanding of the why and how I arrived at that position. He then quizzed me on a list of book titles and which authors were associated with them. I didn't know a single one. The authors included Marx, Lenin, and classical political theorists like Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He said that he had not read these books, but because I couldn't match the authors to the titles, then it was safe to conclude that I was not interested in ideas, dude. He said this makes me a grifter because I considered it to be the role of the content creator to really explore ideas and interrogate these really nuanced and complex ideas. I actually do care about ideas. You don't, he said. You don't know anything. That's the major issue. You don't know anything, he said. I asked him, because I can't name the authors of those books, we can't have any substantive discussion about anything. Is that your idea? Yes, he said. You don't know anything. We then went on to discuss the details of the Kenosha unrest and the Jacob Blake shooting, which led to them. The central argument for how I'm a right-winger. President Sunday, the self-proclaimed academic with a genuine interest in ideas, demonstrated consistently and thoroughly that his understanding of these events was based on falsities and misinformation perpetuated by tweets and headlines immediately following the Kenosha unrest shootings. He traversed state lines with a gun. He fired into the crowd. Did the owners of the business invite him to be there? He asked. While he was watching my video leading up to the first debate, he remarked that Kyle couldn't have been there to defend property because what the fuck is one person with a gun gonna do? He didn't know about the Kenosha Guard. He didn't know about their interactions with the owner of the car source.
That was good.
At one point, he quizzes me about what set off the protests in Kenosha. I answered him it was the shooting of Jacob Blake. I asked him, do you remember Jacob Blake? He had to Google it. But it wasn't the first time he looked into Blake. President Sunday has a YouTube video analyzing the Jacob Blake situation. If police officers with vests, clubs, tasers, and firearms can't restrain one unarmed man, he says in the video, if they are so stupid that they will empty their gun at point-blank range into the back of an unarmed black man, he continues, he didn't know that they had already wrestled with Blake physically. He didn't know that during the scuffle, a knife fell out of Blake's pocket. He didn't know that Blake picked the knife up and continued to resist. He didn't know that they tried to taser Blake, but Blake pulled the prongs out and it was ineffective. He didn't know that the reason the police were called in the first place was because Blake was attempting to steal a car and kidnap the children of a woman who held a restraining order against him for sexually assumpting her. He didn't know that the use of firearms was reserved until they exhausted all attempts to subdue him and he was moments away from entering the car. President Sunday uploaded this knee-jerk analysis on August 25th, 2020, the day of the Kyle Rittenhouse shootings. He never went back to understand the details of anything surrounding the events as they came to light. The video is still up to this day. I remember being linked to headlines for the Blake shooting in real time back in 2020. I was streaming. I read the article and said, this looks really bad, but we're gonna have to come back to this when more details come out. I think this highlights the difference in our dedication to information, commentary, and reality. He reads theory and offers a leftist analysis, absent the facts. I read the news and articulate to the audience the degree to which the claims are substantiated in an attempt to promote media literacy. That's my role. I don't often claim political labels. My first appearance on a panel in the politics space, I was asked my political affiliation. I said, I try to examine things on a topic by topic or policy by policy basis. I'm not super interested in wearing a team jersey or political tribalism. That was my answer. I don't claim to be a bulwark for a political tribe to this day. I don't claim to be a left-winger. I don't claim to be a leftist. I don't claim to be a centrist. Anytime I did that in my videos was in jest. Hell, I don't even like being called a political streamer. There are values I agree with and values I disagree with, of course, and if you ask me, I'm happy to share them with you. We never got that far in my first conversation with Sunday. President Sunday's entire calculation on how I'm a right-winger is based on a two-dimensional political compass called fishhook theory. The idea is that the left and the right is as simple as whether or not an individual is open to critiquing and dismantling old or currently existing power structures. The only way to be left-wing, according to President Sunday, is an act of will to completely dismantle currently existing structures. He claims the left-wing and right-wing values are mutually exclusive, and any concession that any aspect of the current structures can remain, regardless of how radically the system is modified, is definitionally right-wing. Who exactly can qualify as left-wing then? Neo-Luddites? Anarcho-primitivists? President Sunday's entire conception of right and left is based on a disagreement on the nature of the state by 1600s and 1700s political theorists Thomas Hobbes and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. It essentially boils down to the nature versus nurture argument. Does the state shape us to need the state against our nature, or is the construction of a state a reflection of our nature? Conjecture on the mechanistic workings of social psychology and human behavior from the 16 and 1700s. Great. Who cares? Why should we trust that either of these two had valuable, testable insights on human nature? How can we use their speculation to measure the outcomes of human reorganization? Nobody in the current day interprets right or left wing in this way. I see no reason to accept this extremely simplistic and nearly universally inapplicable rubric to identify the politics of neither a person nor a society. The reality is that there are many one-dimensional compasses you can draw to distinguish ideological poles: authority versus liberty, freedom versus security, egalitarian versus exceptional. I could draw all sorts of two-dimensional political compasses. I could even do Atari compass, where different civilizations start at different places and all lead towards some value of philosophical righteousness. Hell, you could have a theocratic monarchy right next to a communist utopia because they're all aiming upwards towards something that is identified as righteous and valuable. The reality is that none of these political compasses are sufficient to analyze or say anything useful about the dynamics of the real politic of any nation or any civilization today. It's simplistic.
Can't tell you, I don't know how
it's exactly that. It's unintelligent. And nobody cares. Nobody understands these words this way. Even in America, where we consider left and right wing to be mostly freedom versus authority, you see a lot of interplay between the two poles.
Hey Max, give him an additional 3 minutes. What do you want to see him big straight
Charge off.
Copy that.
Oh, are my 5 minutes up?
Oh, it's getting close, but do you want to wrap it up? Or
We could talk about it tomorrow. It's fine. I can wrap it up here.
No, keep going.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead and ask some questions.
3 minutes. I have no questions. Keep going. You had something written down. Finish it.
I don't. I'm free balling here.
Well, it might help you to know in advance that you're actually incorrect. I quote from JS Online. Two brothers whose family owns the car lots of downtown told jurors in Kyle Rittenhouse's homicide trial they never asked this group of armed men to protect their businesses or gave them permission to do so. Some from that group had previously testified a friend of a friend
Joe
of Rittenhouse's
Pitting.
used to work at the car source at
Feels
Office
like
Health,
really
and
pit.
then while Sam
Does
Kindred
he have-
accepted and gave keys to get inside the repair shop, this is very quick, y'all.
You have soft
Very
song.
quickly. And a ladder to get on the roof.
Oh,
Kindred
hearts.
told jurors Friday he had no such conversations, nor did he offer keys to the shop. He recalled that early on August
Need the
25th,
hearts.
2020, Rittenhouse was among dozens of people who spoke to him with
Fine,
sympathy
yeah.
and encouragement after the family's main lot had been burned on the first night of unrest. Sahil Kindry, his brother, also testified. He said he was working with a technician at the family's car source lot at 63rd Street and Sheridan Road, and Rittenhouse's group of friends.
We just
And
had to get
some
my,
rifles
like, as
were
much speed as we
mustering at
can
the lot.
over tires is the issue.
Assistant District Attorney
My car's
Thomas
just not
Binger
actually
asked,
fast
so all
enough.
these guys are on your family's property, you don't ask them to leave?
I
And he
just hope
replies,
that my
not when they're
better
dressed
tires
like that.
help.
okay.
Both on
I
mediums.
just want to interject.
I'll be on the softs, you'll be on the
Go ahead.
hards.
Conflicting testimony was given in court. Some people said they did ask, that they even paid them, or they offered to pay them and didn't end up paying them. And then they themselves testified that they did not ask them to guard the property. I think we can just leave it at Supreme
Yeah,
believes
pass me, like,
that they were
gasoline.
asked to guard the proproperty. You believe that they
I
weren't.
don't, may I, Max? I don't think so for the simple reason that the defense didn't actually provide any documentary proof that they indeed did ask. So my
He took
inclination is
pictures
to
of
say
them.
no. Well, in addition, he also says prior to saying he posted pictures for them, he says that not when they're dressed like that. This implies that Kindry, who is very much not a white man, treated these people as a potentially threatening presence.
Yeah, I understand that's what you believe, but I think
That's
we
not
can-
what I believe. It's what they testified in court.
So hang on,
Yes, they
real quick.
yes, but okay. I really don't think we should get into a.
I wanna comment on that.
micro.
Knock yourself out.
Well, why? It's gonna. There's the one person said one thing, the other said the other thing. There's no proof either way. Supreme believes, and I also believe that they
Respectfully,
were
Max,
asked.
I disagree. I disagree with your judgment here because for Supreme, it actually is important how the court determines this case.
I think that you're gonna end up going in circles arguing about something that there's just no answer to. So
Well,
I'm
there's
like,
fucking
go back
nothing we
and
can do.
Okay, good job, Kev.
go back and forth one each,
should
but
pass
like
on.
Sure.
whether they asked them to guard the lot is a question that we will probably never know the real answer to.
I'm just curious if your analysis is they definitely didn't ask them to guard the lot because they're people of color that are super afraid of white people. Why in the photo are they grinning ear to ear gleefully?
Because maybe he
Just stay behind the
I
walls
have
at all
no
times.
notion. But the reason
Yeah,
why I
behind
don't
them.
think they did so is because they say they didn't do so. And when he says not when they're dressed like that, is he going to ask them to leave? He may have approached them and made a judgment call, but I have no idea. We have their testimony and the testimony of somebody who has a specific motive that we know of to want to have license by the owners of the car lot to be there. So, simple as that.
Okay.
really.
Okay. You guys disagree. I think
Sure.
we can just leave that as Schrodinger's request.
For a
to guard
lot.
the lot. Yeah,
Or
for
garage
a
keys
lot.
or something. Yeah.
I do have another question about that. Why didn't the Kindry brothers go to the police and ask them to help them leave?
I don't know.
I
Ask
think
them.
we
That's
should,
for Verstappen and
I think
homies
we
is
should
right out
move
there. I don't
on.
even know
Neither
what's
of you,
taking
or
it
there's no answer. If this was solvable, it would be solved. We don't know the answer,
Okay.
so let's just remove this. If we can't agree on the premise, and there's obviously no way that you guys are going to agree. To me, this is part of the premise. Okay, so you have what is right wing, what is left wing, what is centrism, does it exist, where do you identify? Well, all these questions, right? And the Rittenhouse case is a good battleground to discuss that on because of your take on it and because of Sunday's take on it. We can kind of use this as like the chessboard for figuring some of these things out, but we have to agree on the premise in order to do that. So I think let's just remove. Were they asked to guard the car lot? Let's just remove that. Neither of you can use that argument in either way. Let's just figure out what we do agree happened, and then go from there.
You know, Max, it's a damn shame you abuse your girlfriend for content because I like your moderation style. You're good.
Can I summarize President Sunday's position on this without asking a question?
Well, I would like to respond to that. most 99.99% of the time I abuse my girlfriend is for free. Okay. What did you want to say, Supreme?
I was gonna ask if I can summarize President Sunday's position on the car source.
So his retort to do you only how about not a back and forth? How about I just characterize my opponent's position by myself?
Well, I just want to ask if I understand your position correctly.
Go for it.
Well, I'm asking Max.
All right,
Yeah,
Max.
I think that's fine. Maybe let's both summarize each other's positions.
Sure.
That's a good way to establish good faith.
Has he made a position? I quite have lost track.
Okay, so your position on the Kindry brothers is that they put out a call on social media saying that they lost $1.5 million and asking for people to come help. People showed up to come help. They took pictures with these people where they're grinning.
Wait.
I just want to make sure that he accepts that all this is true.
No. We're removing no discussion of whether they were asked to guard the lot.
And just as a matter of fairness, because he broke the rules first, there is no documentary evidence saying they did so, and they testified in court that they didn't.
Okay, neither of you bring up the owners of the lot ever again for the rest of your lives. I thought you were going to talk about his position overall on the shooting.
Oh, no. On the Kindry brothers.
Our position overall on the shooting is identical. He was firing in self-defense, and in the context of the riot, he was actually completely justified, at least to the extent that anybody can say that what are you going to tell him? Don't shoot if somebody's chasing you, got a gun. At that point, he's introduced an element of danger where somebody who actually assails him and gets his gun can actually kill him. The issue where we disagree is meta to that.
Right. Okay. So, is that what you guys want to talk about?
Well,
Not particularly. I thought we wanted to talk about why he's a right-wing grifter. We're talking about Rittenhouse as if this is like an active discussion.
This was your core argument for why I must be right-wing is based on my position
that was
on
my
Rittenhouse.
first argument, but you interrupted me as soon as I gave it. I can actually
Holy
give you
shit.
very quickly why it
How about
actually,
you watch all this part?
works
It's just as
in
boring
favor
as the last time I watched it.
description of you as a right-winger, very quickly, in line with the description I give of these distinctions in my video. Sure. So it's not that you defend Rittenhouse as, in the context of American law, acting in self-defense when he is being pursued in a public space. The issue is that your reflexive, and this is critical, your reflexive move is to try to characterize the protest as in some sense illicit, is to try to characterize the fact that he was defending property as a justification for putting himself into a situation where he would likely have to take human life. Thereby putting you into a situation where, I mean, effectively, so just to contextualize this very thoroughly, I'll take 1 minute for this. We agree he was acting in self-defense and therefore can't be reasonably charged
Supreme,
with
do you
murder.
consent to a 1 minute
consent?
monologue right now? Do you consent?
For 1 minute.
Sure.
All right. So we agree he was acting in self-defense and therefore can't be reasonably charged with murder. We agree with that. However, you wanted to take this an additional step and say that despite him putting himself into a situation where he would almost certainly be forced to kill people, he couldn't be
How the fuck
morally
did Auckland get so far ahead?
on grounds that he was defending property.
Mick, why are you
What
running
you
off
have
the
failed
course?
to notice that in the contest between a party that has property,
Leclerc, how did you jump in front of both?
The stability of the state, and therefore
Jesus.
protests was challenge it and its functionaries like the police.
Leclerc just
Then you
bodied
have once
us.
again reflexively given the moral right of way to that group which regards property higher than life, the state higher than life, and the preferences of the police higher than the freedom of the people to challenge it.
Double
Hence, you
overtake.
say without
The
prompting,
outside?
the protest ceases to be a protest
Squeeze.
after dark.
Oh my god.
So in this case, you
That's
actually allow for systemic injustice to
job.
determine moral justice.
Gasly's too busy
by giving the
squeezing
right
me
to
out,
defend
forgets
private
about
property
Leclerc.
and capitalism and
Or
put
pass
moral
both
standing
ways.
to defending human life. Effectively giving the moral advantage to property owners. One.
I don't think he can go on hard.
I guess I should ask if my
Oh, this is how it
my
was.
analysis on your understanding of right and left wing is correct.
What? No, it's not. It's very wrong.
Okay, I think we might have to sort that out first.
Sure. Why don't you restate it and try to restate it simply without a time limit? I give you free rein.
Sure. Let's see. President Sunday's entire calculation on how I'm a right-winger is based on a two-dimensional
Hey,
political...
you lied. You said you didn't write that down, and yet you look at your screen and you recite what you said.
No, I finished everything that I'd written down when you told me to get... You asked to give me another 3 minutes.
Sure thing, buddy. Simple.
Do you want me to link you what I wrote?
No. Stop.
Okay.
Everybody stop.
Do you want to retract the accusation that I lied about that?
Nope.
Oh, okay, well, I'm prepared to prove it.
How the hell are you going to prove it? You deleted it as soon as
I'm
I asked.
putting it up on my monitor.
No. You guys are just having a misunderstanding. You did read
I'm not
something.
taking that serious. Guys,
No,
that's
stop.
not
Okay,
serious.
stop.
It's okay. Just continue.
Supreme read something from a script. By the time you accused him of reading from a script, he had finished reading from the script and was freestyling, right? So let's just. Supreme, do you want to state in your own non-written words, a brief
Charge on.
summary of Sunday's configuration of right and left and why you're right wing to make sure that we're all using the same terminology?
Sure.
Can I make
So,
an additional suggestion very quickly? Very quickly.
anything else you'd like, birthday boy?
Yeah. Just for the sake of clarity, I would suggest you try and reconstruct it instead of just recapitulate what you said earlier, because it was very long-winded and very confused.
Sure. Let me ask you this: if there is any advocacy whatsoever, if your politics include in any way the advocacy that the current existing structure should remain, regardless of how modified you think it is, you are definitionally right-wing. Is that your understanding?
No.
Okay.
It's actually very explicitly it excludes policy distinctions. Because the issue is, again, an orientation towards either fetishizing existing structures or towards being willing to critique existing structures. Obviously, in any situation, there are going to be contingent factors, among other things, just the bare fact that some
hang on.
system or structure has like Y.
That's easy.
You're going to have to address it as a thing.
I'm willing to critique existing structures. Does that make me left-wing?
Potentially. I don't really believe you.
Well,
though.
hang on.
Like, willing isn't just like the bare fact that you hold in the abstract in the context of a discussion where you're trying to save face. That you say you're willing to critique them. I've seen no evidence whatsoever that you are.
Wait, hold on. I need you guys to give each other the autonomy to establish your own positions. So if you say, what do you think of jail, or what do you think of capitalism, or whatever, if Supreme says, I think those things are bad, I'm against them, I want to change them, I'm critiquing them, we have to allow him to be able to do that.
Okay. So I guess this is like an insane calculus of left versus right wing for the opposite reason, which is that in order to be right wing, you must be completely uncritical about the existing system and possess no willing. Well, which is it? Because in your video you said that these ideas are completely mutually exclusive.
The presence of a fetishistic defense of existing structures. It doesn't mean you're vocally uncritical of them. Otherwise, of course, like saying that liberals aren't. I mean, liberals are generally not in favor of the monarchy.
Okay, we were talking about Rittenhouse. I feel like it's easier if we're getting...
Well, I need to understand what right and left wing are.
Sure, but he said that... Sunday said that you had a reflexive and now fetishistic defense of existing power structures in your response to the Rittenhouse case.
And the immigration case. And the immigration case.
Sure. Well, I think we should pick one of those two. And
sure.
go through and then figure out what is fetishistic, what is reflexive, where you defend, which power structures do you defend, which power structures do you criticize, and then where does Sunday draw the lines, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah,
I what I mean by fetishistic. That might be helpful.
Box.
No.
I actually really need to know what he means by fetishistic. That's one thing.
I was going to say, like, he actually does.
Oh,
Max,
sure.
are you okay with that?
Then,
okay,
yeah.
so by fetishistic, what I mean in very rough terms is that you treat the thing as simply and essentially given as like a simple, almost metaphysical fact of the world. So, for example, when people argue that borders must be protected, they fetishize it as a thing that is a simply given fact
of
the conditions of a people of any sort.
We got up in ranks.
What they don't notice is actually very particular and very
after a
recent
safety
history.
car, so unless we get another safety car after
Make
McPits.
I have an extensively long video on this on my channel.
And like soon after McPits.
Okay. Well, I guess I can.
Does that clarify things for you at all?
Yes, and that makes things. I mean, that basically means that nobody is right wing. In that case,
No, it doesn't.
I don't think there's anybody that wouldn't accept that there are modifications that can be made to the current existing
there
structures.
are people who think that the nuclear family is the bedrock of society, even being possible.
I
At
don't
every
think
single level, there are people who fetishize these different structures. It's ubiquitous.
it's about whether or not people have the intellectual
62%?
honesty to ever accept any alternative,
make it,
as long as it
maybe.
can be demonstrated to be true.
Maybe
right?
he just goes all the way in and switches to
I don't know what
soft at the last moment. You know?
Say something else that tries to do the same thing.
Okay, if you're open to critiquing an existing structure, right? You said that it was mutually exclusive to either be open to critiquing existing structures in your video or to be fetishistic about the preservation of the existing
if you're fetishizing them, you're definitionally not open to them being critiqued because the stance is one of naive accepting the thing is simply and absolutely given.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody does that with the currently
rough.
existing structures. Or I think the number of people who do that are in the extreme minority.
I wish that was true. You were very much mistaken.
Okay, well, it doesn't represent me, so do I win the debate?
No. Let's
Sure.
let's
No,
let's get
I think-
let's
Max, I think he wins. I think he wins.
Sunday. Let's get
Okay.
more specific. Obviously, let's try to steelman each other here. Okay, so I don't think Sunday. I don't think you're saying that
Should be able
any
to catch up with
defense
them.
of any existing power structure in any circumstance ever makes you right wing. I think you're saying that it depends on
Versus
why you're
naturally
defending
catch
it,
up with them.
how strongly, the context, the situation, the person, blah blah. So again, I think we should get to specifics.
That's not
on
my
either-
preferred phrasing, but I think we're in the same ballpark. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get specific about either Rittenhouse or immigration or any other
Back
issue
off.
you guys want to put through the orange juice squeezing machine to see what comes out.
I like the immigration position or example because it explicitly deals with spatial relations. So I'd actually like, not Mr. Wicked, I would like Wicked to actually recapitulate his immigration stance if he could, and then I think that would be fruitful to talk about. If
So
he
we get
agrees.
DRS next.
Supreme, do you want to talk about immigration?
Actually,
or
sec-
Rittenhouse?
that might actually help me.
This is amazing. I would like, at the very least, there's one request I have for this conversation, that I get to represent my position on
Maybe
anything
not, because
at
they're
least
just blasting
once
away now.
before we start diverting to
fuck, this
different
car's so
topics
slow.
of this conversation. Is that okay?
Yeah,
what-
track.
yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Okay. I don't know. I would just say that my my conception of the defensive property is certainly not fetishistic. I can entertain the possibility of structures at some point in time where we don't really, I'll just say this: my entire calculation, my entire analysis on the value of a person's property and how it relates to their livelihood and the quality of their life is entirely pragmatic, right? It's just an analysis on where we are in the current state of things.
Get a
and
gap wall on
how-
DRS.
how highly we can predict, how reasonably and how well we can predict that, like, a person's assets being destroyed, especially in the context of a business owner having like half their assets destroyed and like losing millions of dollars, how that's going to affect the lives and the quality of lives of them and their employees. They'd probably have to let a bunch of employees go, you know, having to fight with insurance companies and probably getting shortchanged and things like that. It's entirely pragmatic. It's not that
Yeah,
I can't.
so very quickly, if I may just ask a quick question,
Wait. Are we talking about Rittenhouse or immigration?
I think we're talking. Well, we're using the Rittenhouse example, but I don't think he's specifically talking about Rittenhouse. He's
Yeah,
just
but
using
I
that.
want to specifically talk about one of these issues and then run it through the juicer because
Respectfully,
you
Oh,
could
Nora's
say
locked
you
up.
could. No,
Poggers.
I don't respect your respect for me. I think that you can say all this shit and then it can,
I
but
don't
then you bring up
respect
an
your
actual.
disrespect
What? Oh, thank God, it's my
for my
phone.
respect.
Well, good. Well, you can say all this shit, then you can bring up the actual issue and then say something that doesn't follow what you just said at all. So abstractly, like, you can make yourself
Yeah,
sound
true.
like super reasonable or whatever. But I think we got to get specific. So can we please, immigration or Rittenhouse as the field?
I keep talking about Rittenhouse. I don't know.
I want you to answer this question.
Yeah, well, I feel like my answer
you
is
wanna-
obviously Rittenhouse.
Do you want to talk about Okay, so you want to talk about Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Sunday said he wants to talk about immigration. Sunday, are you
Good
okay
for
with
him.
talking about Rittenhouse?
If we're not bleeding again into a litigation of the outcomes of the trial, then yes.
Well, it sounds like you both agree self-defense. So we don't need to litigate that. I agree with you. The question is about everything that took place before Rittenhouse feared for his life and killed those people.
I do want to
So-
remove away from the trivia about whether or not he was asked to go, because there is no evidence one way or the other.
We're
We
not
just
allowed
have
to talk about.
testimony of
I'm not
documents.
even allowed to talk about that anyway. I've removed that. That's now sealed. You're not allowed to talk about that. And
You
we're
are
not, you're not even
doing
allowed to
so
talk
this very
about.
moment.
You're not even allowed to talk about how you're not allowed to talk about it. So let's talk about Rittenhouse. Supreme is asked to be able to lay out his beliefs without interruption. Supreme, do you want to give your stance on the Rittenhouse case minus the thing that we're not going to talk about?
Well, I mean, yeah, I feel like I just addressed it. If the idea is that I'm right wing because I have a reflexive and fetishistic conception of the defensive property or something like that, I've just said that, like, my analysis of it is entirely pragmatic. I can conceive of a world where property doesn't directly relate to the people's quality of life or their livelihoods, or even eventually extrapolated down to human life and death. Depending on, you know, how much state funds go into having to repair damage from, you know, the riots during the Kenosha unrest, and how much of that money would then not be translated into maybe, you know, state medical programs or something like that. That could, but very potentially, actually, it's not even very difficult to make this extrapolation. That could lead to people not getting medical care. That could lead to their death or something like that. It's entirely pragmatic. It's entirely contingent on the current factors by which people actually live by. it doesn't mean that I'm completely averse to ever entertaining any ideas of how we could change our entire relationship with property and how we could maybe have a society where the existing state of property or like the soundness of property or whether or not it gets destroyed, we devise some way that it doesn't, interact with people's quality of life or something like that, that I would be able to change my mind on that. No.
Why don't you clarify, for my edification, why on earth the circumstances under which Jacob Blake was shot bear on this discussion?
Well, you asked me, and that seemed to be a big part of your understanding of why Kyle Rittenhouse being there was necessarily a counter protest towards.
No, that was about why there was a protest. I'm a little bit curious though. You've gone into an extensive, especially in your opening statement, you went extensively into the nefarious circumstances of Jacob Blake's shooting. I want to know why you felt the need to do so.
Sure, there's two reasons. Number one, you quizzed me on it in our last conversation, only for us to find out that you didn't know any information about it.
It's clearly not true. Continue.
Well, it is true, as demonstrated by your own coverage of it, which is posted.
Okay, so you were calling him
stupid. They suspected the man. Hang on, very quickly, Max. They suspected the man had a knife. They didn't know until after having shot him. Sorry, continue.
And you continue to not know until.
Wait. Okay, Supreme, you included that.
No. At the time, he was not known. Well, hang on, Max. This is actually very important.
I don't think it is important. You guys are just calling each other stupid and increasingly complicated ways. I believe that you are. Wait. Hold on, Supreme. I believe Supreme included. I believe you included the stuff about Sunday not knowing what he was talking about Jacob Blake.
Not knowing the details.
From your point of view, not knowing the details, because he had quizzed you about other details, and you wanted to show that even though he knows these books, he doesn't know about Jacob Blake or whatever. It just feels like you guys are trading.
That's part of it. That's part of it.
Okay. So,
he asked me why I brought it up, and that's the answer.
Yeah, there's a presumption that you brought it up because it had something to do with what you were saying about the shooting and the riot. But maybe it didn't have anything to do with it, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
If you ask me, there are a couple of details worth considering, right? Like, I would say that it's worth considering, for example, like whether or not I think somebody is more or less justified in defending that which is rightfully theirs or that which is rightfully somebody else's, which is, I think, fundamentally a left-wing principle and not a right-wing principle, right?
Can you just lay out what you think of the Rittenhouse shooting?
Oh my, it's so complex. If you want me to do that, it'll take me all day, which is why I'm trying to direct this narrowly to pretty narrow elements of this.
Can you lay out what you think about the parts that you think Sunday is going to find the most contentious?
I'm happy to just let him Socratic method me and ask me questions. He asked me why I brought up Jacob Blake and why I went into detail about that.
He doesn't want to ask. He doesn't want to Socratic method you. He doesn't want to ask you a question.
He asked me a question. I want to answer it.
Well, you said that you haven't gotten a chance to lay out what you think about anything.
Look at this. This is really cool. Sorry.
Sunday, I'm going to have to ask you to pay attention to what Supreme is saying during the debate.
I'm a very good multitasker.
I'm going to have to ask you to appear that you're paying attention to what Supreme is saying during the debate. If you don't mind. To some reasonable degree. I feel like going out of your way to make it seem like you're not listening to him is counterproductive.
Yeah.
Okay. Supreme.
You know what? At this point, I'd like to ask President Sunday, what are your goals with this conversation?
We already talked about that. We established our 4 points of contention.
I want him to reiterate it.
I don't want him to do that. I don't want to open the door for you or him to change these 4 points of contention. I'll remind you what they are, and now we're going to go into martial law. So I'm going to need one of you or both of you to agree on one of these 4 points. So the 4 points are: is Supreme left wing or right wing? Is liberalism left wing or right wing? Is centrism inherently right wing, or is Supreme a grifter? I want you to choose one of these 4 topics, and I'm going to stick to it. We're going to stick to specifics. We're going to get granular. So, what do you guys think?
I want liberalism. That's my vote.
Okay. Liberalism is inherently right-wing. Supreme, do you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about one of the other 3?
Sure. We can talk about liberalism is inherently right-wing.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'm still okay with doing this in the theater of...
Can I throw a jab?
House case?
Do it.
No.
Yes.
Come on. You can't.
Oh,
no,
come on, man. Live a little.
No, because there's been too many jabs and not enough substance. So I want to get to the differences in what you guys think about liberalism, and let's stick with Rittenhouse. What does a liberal think of the Rittenhouse case? So, Supreme, can you give a short, brief summary of what you think of the Rittenhouse case, and with vis-a-vis how you think it relates to Supreme's view of liberalism and right, conservatism, whatever. You get what I'm saying?
You said Supreme, I think, twice, so I'm not sure if we know who's saying what about who.
Oh, sorry. Sunday thinks that liberalism is right-wing. I want you to give your take on the Rittenhouse.
Max, in 2022, not just generally. I think at one point it was very left.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right now. Okay. So now, Supreme, I want you to give your takes on the Rittenhouse case, the things that you think Sunday's going to disagree with, so that we can really get to the meat of this.
Okay, I feel like we can just look at the movement of the the Democrat Party. If we're talking about liberalism as the broad sort of idea of
the Rittenhouse case. The Rittenhouse case.
Wait, are we talking about liberalism or the Rittenhouse case? Whether or not liberalism is right or left wing.
As a liberal.
Wait a second, Max. I have a clarifying question that actually bears very importantly on this, may I?
Sure.
Wicked, do you consent?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So are you suggesting that the Democrats can be held to be equivalent to liberals in modern day?
Sure.
Okay. So here's the problem, okay? And this is why common parlance of like liberals being equivalent to Democrat, or frankly as it's used by the right on Fox News, generally it's basically equivalent to an F slur in terms of its specificity. Hang on, give me a second. I've lost my mouse here. What the fuck? There we go. Here's the general problem, okay? So, and this is why my description of these distinctions between left and right being oriented to structures.
Do something really annoying.
This is a quick question. I thought this was a clear
well,
question. This ain't a question. This is a speech. No, but
fuck,
wait, stop.
He's caught me. Damn
Stop.
it.
Hold on. Everybody stop. Okay. You've identified Supreme as a liberal. He's identified himself as a liberal in his response to your tweet.
And a centrist.
So what? Yeah, but liberal.
He agrees that Osama bin Laden is.
Oh, but I can actually use these.
Okay. So, as a liberal, Supreme, what do you think of the Rittenhouse case? After you give your summary, I want you to see if you agree. Is this the kind of general liberal stance? And if so, how is that right wing? And then we'll get into it from there. Then we'll have a functioning, working definition of what liberal is in this context, at least. So, Supreme, for the love of sweet Jesus in heaven, can you please just say what you think of the Rittenhouse case, briefly and broadly?
I have to be honest. I don't really understand the prompt. I don't understand what "as a liberal" really means in terms of in terms of investigating this shit. Like,
what do you think of the Rittenhouse case? Well, you don't have to. You already said you're a liberal. So, what do you think of the Rittenhouse? I think you and I probably think the same thing about the Rittenhouse case. I consider myself a liberal. I know that Sunday probably considers my view on it right wing. He probably considers you. Just what do you think of the Rittenhouse case?
Sure. So I think the main thing in question is like whether or not I think it was good or justified or morally good or morally bad for Rittenhouse to be at the protest in the first place, right? To be present there. Yeah. I feel like that's a big point of contention. And I think I break from a lot of liberals on this as well, where I feel like it's more justified for him to be there than the average liberal does. And the reasons for that are because most people who say that he shouldn't have been there is based on his age or something like that. I feel like most people are not judging the rest of the Kenosha Guard for being there. I think a lot of people are judging Kyle Rittenhouse based on his age, the fact that he was there. And my reasons for being a little more reserved about that are that Kyle Rittenhouse is not the average 17-year-old. 17-year-olds can go off to war. They can join the military and go off to war. 17-year-olds is like the beginning of your adult life. And he was already out of high school at that point. I think he was homeschooled. I'm not sure if he finished homeschooling, but he had dedicated the past 3 years of his life to programs that showed a very clear and consistent pursuit of doing some sort of emergency response work. He did some like police cadet programs, and he did some volunteer firefighter programs, and I think an EMT program or something like that. And so like getting some hands-on experience to serve a function that I also wouldn't morally condemn, which is people in a community coming out to help those in their community, in need against wanton, senseless destruction that's unjustified. Which is why I wouldn't judge the other people of the Kenosha Guard so fiercely as well, especially in a time of turmoil where the police were indisposed. People were.
I want to interject.
Yeah.
I believe that even if Rittenhouse's stated reasons for being there are 100% true, I believe Sunday is still going to maintain that defending his actions is a right-wing position. So I don't think you need to. Yeah, so I don't think you need to prove that he was there for whatever reason he said. I think Sunday is probably going to be willing to give you that. So let's just say he was there to help. He was there as a medic. He was there to protect the business, and the people there were protesting / devolving into rioting / full-on rioting in response to the Jacob Blake shooting that they viewed as unjustified. So, okay, so you've talked about his age. Let's talk about defensive property and the notion that he's responding to a protest against police use of force.
Sure. What the protest was about is irrelevant to me. It's just completely irrelevant.
And yet you had a lot to say about Jacob Blake.
Well, because you asked me about him.
Well, yeah, actually, I don't think. Yeah. Never mind. I think it's irrelevant to you, but I don't think it's irrelevant to Sunday.
Yeah, it's not irrelevant to Sunday. A part of his calculation was the nature of the protest.
He spent a lot of time talking about how he actually had a knife.
Yeah, to highlight the fact that you didn't understand the situation yet.
No, I did. He wasn't known to have a knife until after he was shot. He was speculated to have a knife.
So you asked Sunday this in the last debate. I don't know what the answer was, but if there was a KKK riot, a pogrom, would you be okay with black business owners standing in front of their business with ARs?
With phalanxes spearing them in the streets, yes. That's a joke.
Okay.
Yes, but would you be okay with them guarding their property with ARs?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the reason for the protest is relevant.
Of course it is. That's why I asked.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about him deciding to join this what could be called a counter protest, or it could be called defending property from protesters or rioters, or however you want to frame it. Let's talk about that. What do you think of that, Supreme?
I don't believe it was a counter protest. When asked about it, Kyle Rittenhouse said very clearly,
it was after dark. It can't be a counter protest.
We can talk about that as well if you want to give me a chance to.
Let's not. No. Yeah, just go ahead, Supreme.
Well, that seems like a big sticking point for him when I
that's
tried
fine.
to.
It doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be a sticking point for us, though.
This is true.
Let's keep going. He's trying to derail you, so let's just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if things are cross-threaded.
Where the hell were we?
What do you think about Rittenhouse showing up to threaten people who are rioting because of police use of force that they viewed as unjust and racist at the time? What do you think of Rittenhouse showing up and inserting himself into that situation with a gun?
Yeah, like I said, I think we talked about this earlier. Just before this, I don't think the nature of the protest was relevant at all. It could have been a big lie protest where all the people protesting and whether the protests were peaceful a day, which I believe the protests were peaceful a day. Kyle Rittenhouse claims that he thinks the protests were peaceful at day, and he claims support for the protest. He said very clearly on national television, I support the right to protest and I support Black Lives Matter. And that he was only there in response to the damage that had been done.
Yeah, he said that after a murder trial. So let's What do you think of him showing up there with a gun?
I love the total deference to Kyle Rittenhouse, but not to the owners of the car.
If you have any evidence to the contrary that he ever said anything negative about Black Lives Matter or the value of it, I'd love to see it.
We have video evidence that he claimed that he wants to shoot looters.
What does that have to do with whether or not he agreed with the value of Black Lives Matter or the right to protest?
Bloodlust against the unruly.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said bloodlust against the unruly. He likes the idea of being in a situation where he is shooting people who are upsetting law and order.
What does that have to do with the value of peaceful protest?
Nothing. Continue.
Great. Why did you bring it up?
Why'd you bring it up?
Because I don't like your mustache.
Wow.
Is this
It's not an insult.
All right. Sunday, no more interruptions.
All right,
Supreme, what do you think of the Rittenhouse case?
Oh, got it.
What do you think of him? So we got his age. Let's go over. What do you think of him showing up to this protest with a gun? What is the deal? What's the deal?
I think in the overwhelming majority of cases, people should not go to protests armed, personally. in the overwhelming majority. I think Kenosha, the Kenosha unrest was a huge departure. Like I said, I really think that Kyle Rittenhouse specifically is an outlier for many, many, many reasons. And yeah, in general, I don't like the idea of people showing up with a gun because it is more likely to incite violence. It is more likely to raise tensions and things like that. But
really?
Sunday?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to interrupt. My apologies.
Yeah.
I'm very drunk. I'm sorry.
Well,
Dude,
let's
what
let
a
him get
debate.
his ideas out before you signaling to him that you're looking
Sigma
for some
Sigma
kind of
debate
dunk.
tactics.
I honestly
I'm not
think,
at all. I'm not at all. Hey, look.
I honestly think it would be. It could.
Can I be
that
honest with
you're-
you, Max? My
I don't know.
My fervent preference is for you to turn this into one of your weird heart-to-heart things. I think that would be swell. But
Okay,
that's just
I'm
me.
trying to do it, but you guys gotta stop with the barbs. Okay, Sunday. Oh, I'm sorry, Supreme. You're saying that in most cases you don't think you should show up to a protest with a gun. In this case, can you explain why it's still okay to show up to this protest with a gun, even though the protest was against perceived police brutality?
Yeah, because I don't think the nature of the protest is important at all. But in this case, I actually think that the nature of the protest being against the legitimacy of the police or calling the legitimacy of the police in question creates an added incentive, or at least an extra layer of permission for citizens of a community to come out and like protect each other, right? When called to action or something like that. Because if it's the legitimacy of the police that is called into question, then our ability to count on the police to provide protection for people who ask for it in times of unrest and violence is diminished. So, you know, that scaffolding starts to erode.
Okay, so just to be clear,
Totally smash the shit out of it.
as unrest increases, it's bad to bring a gun to a certain point
Fuck
because
me.
you're increasing unrest yourself by bringing the gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at a certain point, bringing guns is more understandable, or begins to actually add order back in if you're acting as some sort of paramilitary or volunteer police force yourself. You're saying when things start to really fall apart, then okay, guard your business with a gun. You may not think it's objectively helpful, but it's more understandable.
Yeah, I think
what you're
you're summarizing it pretty well.
Fuck.
Okay.
As the ability for police to provide protection for people in times of unrest, then, you know, the permission or the permissivity, I guess I would grant to people doing so for themselves, and especially contingent on like how proximal they are to the communities that are seeing the destruction increases. Yeah.
Let's.
Yes, it was about how the police don't do enough. Sorry, continue.
Let's
Okay, that's
let's give Supreme the.
I want to give him 5 minutes. Just dig.
No.
Dig away.
Let's give Supreme that Rittenhouse felt that Kenosha was his own community. I don't.
okay,
Let's
leave
take
those.
the outsider shit off the table,
Yes,
and let's
let's-
assume
What else is
let's give that Kenosha is Rittenhouse's community. Okay, so
Here's where things get
is there
tough.
anything else you want to say about when it makes sense to bring a gun to a protest or riot or a civil unrest, Supreme?
I could have other thoughts that come up, but nothing comes to mind right now. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure there could be other caveats.
Okay, is there anything else you want to add about this before we give it to Sunday to respond?
No.
All right.
Max, can you in your words tell me what I'm responding to?
You are responding to Supreme's overall take as a liberal, or as a liberal / centrist. I agree that he's leaning a little bit to the right of liberal, but I think I consider myself a liberal, and I would probably I basically agree with what he's saying.
That's interesting. I actually disagree with you, Max, that that's a right-leaning position.
It's not right-leaning; it's right of staunch progressive.
I would say that it's actually left of staunch progressive.
Okay.
Violently defending
let me put it,
you
let
and
me
your
put it this way.
community?
Staunch
Let me put
progressives being.
Well, hold on. Let me answer your
infamously
question. Let me answer the
apologists for
fucking.
property.
Let me answer
Do
the
it,
question.
Max. Answer the
When
fucking
I
question.
When I say it's right of liberal, I don't mean in theory. I don't mean like on the spectrum of theory. I mean, if you just took everybody and asked them like how progressive and how conservative are you, and had them all stand in line. I think where you are at is where this is something that I think
I understand.
someone who is a little more right leaning
not gonna work.
would agree with.
I understand, but also somebody much further left-leaning, right? That's basically the anarchist view. Is like, hell yeah, we should allow individuals to supersede the state and say fuck the state. We as individuals have the right to protect ourselves.
Do you have the right to protect your property with? I don't know
Yeah.
if anarchists
Yes.
are saying you can shoot each other over cars. Did they say that?
MrGirl,
What would? Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
may I? That's a good question.
Well, you asked me to summarize, and I feel like I feel like I can't.
I
have a chance to talk.
did,
So
but
that's-
you've been
okay.
you've been interrogated and it's been specified. Can I ask an additional question just to sort of?
Well, I just want to say
even the balance a little bit.
I think
Very
what
quick.
Supreme
Very
is-
quick. Very
No, stop with all the fucking derailing. I think what Supreme is saying is that that it was his community. He showed up with a gun because a certain threshold of unrest had been met that now makes sense to show up with a gun, whereas
Okay,
a
and if
less
those fall
unrest
out,
makes
I've
it
got
make less
all
sense,
these.
and that he should not be seen as a incompetent child.
And
think
these
that
ones
was
are
the
easier to key
That was
and can
his
actually
position
kind
that
of be
he's an
keyed.
incompetent child. I mean, I never argued he's an incompetent child. That would take away his agency and his culpability.
He said that.
Uh,
That's what he
Wicked did.
said.
Well,
Wicked said that. Yeah.
well, clearly I wasn't paying attention. It's a very silly. It's a very silly response. Is he saying? Wait. Just for my clarification.
No, he's
Is
not
he
saying that
saying-
you thought that. He's just giving his take. He was not
thinks-
a
he thinks
counter argument.
that-
It was just I just asked Supreme for his
No,
summary of the.
I totally
Rittenhouse
understand,
situation.
Max. I'm just asking this: is Wicked
Yeah.
saying that he thinks that Rittenhouse was an incompetent child, or the opposite?
Not an incompetent child.
Not an incompetent child. Okay, so you think it's an anarchist state to defend private property, which is a constituent part of the state. That's what you think.
or property that you believe is rightfully somebody's, whether or not the state protects. And again, if the whole point is that the state's ability to protect it is breaking
I see.
down, and a person claims this
okay.
property is rightfully mine, and a
I-
good
I-
argument can be made for that.
I understand. So your point of confusion is that you think that the anarchist regards any property that is in use by a human being as being equivalent to liberal private property. These are not the
Okay,
same
wait. Before you start going back and forth on this Sunday,
Oh, no.
can
Is this
you
gonna
just
get into-
give your broad response to his broad take and explain what parts of it, if any, you think are right wing, and what parts aren't?
The assumption that the defense of private property, which is, of course, a constituent part of the modern liberal state, of course, being justified entirely on grounds of the, what's the word I want to look for here? The adhering onto of individual, the adhering onto of the space, the land that the liberal state occupies, the rights that are attached to individual subjects as they are provided in liberal political theory.
Wait. Sorry. You're
Yeah.
not saying you're not against all defense of all property. Like if I come into your house,
specifically, no, we're actually you're actually going to go way afield of where I'm actually.
No. Just answer this. If I come into your house with a giant sack, if I come into your house with a giant sack, and I start putting your books in my giant sack, and I sling it over my shoulder like Santa, you're gonna either ask me to stop or prevent me from doing that in some way, right?
Categorically, yes. But
Okay,
property isn't a house. Crucially, for case in point, I live in a rented space. But if somebody did that, my response would be the same. But I don't own this property.
Okay. Yeah, but you own the books.
Yeah, but property doesn't mean possessions. That's critical here. When we're talking about property in a liberal sense, we're talking about partitioned areas of land that are possessed legally.
Are you saying are you ever planning on owning a home or land?
No, I mean I would absolutely take part of the benefits of a liberal state.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
if you
why
owned a
wouldn't I?
house, and I show up with a giant sack and a shovel, and I start scooping your garden into my
Your
sack.
beard's supposed to be white. Continue.
That's right. I start scooping up your lawn, and I start putting your lawn in my sack, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, I wanted to be a good lefty, but he's really taking a lot of my yard. I don't know how he fit all that yard in that sack. I've got a big fucking sack of your yard. At some point, you would be like, hey, don't do that, right? You would at least object to me doing it, right?
Yes. In fact, I would very excitedly leave my house with my cutlass in hand. The one time in my life I'd be able to use it, and I'd be such a joy true nerd, but I'd feel like a badass for a few seconds.
Okay, great. So we have established that sometimes you think defending property is okay, and even
No.
okay. So then I want
Sunday.
Property,
You're not making any
property
sense,
possessions
Sunday.
are distinct.
How are they distinct? Because like, how is the property that you're defending? Why can't you just call the property your possession, and then is the dirt your possession? So the dirt around your property the dirt around your house is your possessions. Is a brick on the house a possession? Are all the bricks on the house your possessions? Is the house itself your possession? Like, what is the? This is so dumb. if I take a brick off your house, am I stealing your property or your possessions? Like what?
Build a house.
If I burn your house down, am I destroying your property or your possession?
In your front yard, and I say I live here now. Yeah. I build a house that's so big. Yeah. It's actually identical to your house. It's just much bigger.
You know
so your house becomes a little model of my house within my house.
Max, this is so interesting, and I'm glad you actually brought that up because what you were describing is the history of politics in North America
Overtake is available.
from colonization to present.
Yes. Would you allow me to colonize your?
No.
Or would? Okay.
I'd be beaten by your overwhelming technological power, and then I'd be treated as a guest.
No. I don't want you to make an analogy. I want you to answer this question. If I built a giant house that's a replica of your house,
the analogy tracks my response. This is so interesting.
If I built a giant house,
yes,
that looks exactly like your house, on top of your house, so that your house is now inside my house, would you object or say anything? Would you make any attempt to prevent me from doing this?
Yeah.
Physical, legal, verbal, any yeah, okay. So you okay. So in making any attempt to do that, you would be defending your property, right? Okay, so
defending my possessions. Property is a very complicated concept.
Okay, but so dumb. So then we just call the business that Rittenhouse was protecting the other person's possession. Done. Or is a business that you own, the building that the business is in, that's property. But the business isn't gone, it's just a concept, right? The business just resides inside the property. Sorry, the possession. Like, what's the property?
No, you can keep everything in your house. You can keep your yard. I'm just going to build...
Max,
I'm gonna build a house on stilts. Outside of your property line, it just goes over. It's a dome.
Yes, and that's one of the very interesting things because now we are.
Would you prevent me from building a dome around your house that does not interfere with your ability to come, leave, go, anything, or interact with any of your
Does President Sunday think that Rittenhouse went to go protect the dirt?
So I'm going to defend
the car wash was on. Is that what he thinks?
I don't even know. I want to ask. Just please, somebody ask President Sunday. What's the distinction between property and possessions? Because he seems to agree that you can defend the dirt around your house. Right? He said he would go out there with a cutlass and use it for the first time and feel like a nerd. So he seems to think that you can defend the dirt around it. But you can't. So you can defend the dirt around your house. I would assume he would say that if I take a brick off your house, I can defend that. But if you build a dome over the house, I can't stop that. Like, I don't...
A definition that is in fact defending your property. Now you can say because of extenuating circumstances you yourself would adopt a right-leaning position for the time being when you're preventing me from building the max zone. That's fine. You can say if you want to just say
not exactly.
That's a left-leaning way to defend my property. Whatever. But at some point you are okay with defending property. So I want you to specifically engage with
Max. I gotta make this intervention. I'm so sorry. I gotta make this intervention. I have to. Okay, so the two-dimensional partitioning of property as being something that your personal individual human rights can be attached to, that in itself is specifically a product of liberal philosophy. So I get what you're saying.
You would make use of this. You would make use of this philosophy in yourself.
Max, I will give you however long you want after this, but it's very critical that when we're talking about property in the context of a modern liberal state, we are not talking about that simply which you make use of and which you possess.
I don't know.
We're talking about something that is legally enforced as a spatial partitioning of land in 2 dimensions.
I believe that if I started...
It's actually in 3 dimensions. I don't know why he doesn't know this. You own the land above your house as well. Just an FYI. It's in 3 dimensions. And below. But it's okay.
Super interesting, which is that this actually can't apply to any sort of activity that
takes
place
point,
in 3 dimensions. So, for example,
at this point, I don't even
we have a very difficult time.
I don't even care to argue with President Sunday because he'll never be influential.
I don't even know how you. You have to ask him what is the difference between property and possessions. I don't understand.
Stop. No, you have to stop. You're no, that's too evasive. It's too much.
He'll never be persuasive to anybody that fucking matters.
Anything on your property, even if it did not disrupt your ability.
There's probably 3 people in the world.
And you would probably You would probably call
care about these distinctions.
Right. You would ask for the state to enforce the relationship that you have to your property.
Make
Right?
Yes, I
passing
would.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Okay. Great.
So like,
So
now that I've
the
showcased this, I feel like
question becomes,
I don't need to say or do
it's
anything
no
else.
longer is it
Hamilton
ever okay
passes
to
both of
defend
us.
property?
Double nice.
I'll let him read his
we live in a
theory
liberal
books and
system,
be like,
so
you don't know
we are
anything.
not liberals ourselves.
You don't
In
know
some-
anything.
in
I'll
certain
be like,
cases,
fine, I don't know
I
anything.
reflex
Fuck
for
it.
a
I'm right wing too. Fuck
in
it,
some-
dude.
okay, in some
I don't
cases, we
care.
defend
Go
property
read Hobbes.
beyond
Hang on,
just defending
wait.
possession.
Wait,
Yeah, but I'm
have
just defending
fun.
possessions.
The
So
Supreme's breaking the rules. He's distracted, and he's looking
That's-
distracted.
I'm just saying the same thing over and over again until you agree to stop derailing it. So it's okay. He heard me the first 20 times. So I want you to bring it back. I want you to bring it back to. You can't just say all defensive property is wrong now. I want you to
I could be
engage
getting a good
I didn't say all
specifically-
defensive property is wrong. I've actually been
Right,
very
right.
assiduous about not
Yes,
using the
yes.
language of right and wrong.
Okay, great. So you'd be okay with black people defending their property from a KKK pogrom with ARs. Now I want you to
Yes,
explain.
but to be very clear, when I
Explain-
say I'd be okay, it's important to be very clear. When I say I'd be okay, I
Yes.
do not mean that I think some cosmic law sanctions.
Oh, come on, pass him.
I understand that. I understand.
Good.
Okay,
Now
so
we're behind by like 1
now
hour, aren't we?
I want you to explain
Yes.
how
Hamilton's just
specifically
gone, dude.
in
Oh, no,
this
he's right there.
case
That's Russell.
the
Look, I actually
morally
did get cucked.
condoning
I'm gonna get passed by
Kyle
Gasly now.
Rittenhouse's actions to defend property. Why in this case is that a right-wing, reflexive, fetishistic stance?
Because when you say something is morally condoned, what you are saying is that it is universally true. That's literally the only definition that actually bears any content when we're talking about the moral, because literally
has
think
passed
about it for 5
Hamilton.
seconds.
Okay,
We're
let's-
not
well,
talking
no,
about
stop.
talking about-
Okay,
I'm
okay.
not- but that's your question. Was that your
No,
question?
I don't. No, you're not answering my question. You're taking a
Okay,
fake
I'm-
question. I
I'm
didn't ask.
coming-
You're
I'm-
extracting. I don't want.
I'm just
I don't
getting
want.
to
I
that.
want you to. I want you to answer. Okay,
Yes.
Supreme gave some kind of condoning of Rittenhouse's actions
Yes.
in his summary, right? I
Morally.
don't think that he. I don't. Yes, I don't think he was alluding to a moral code that he.
No,
thinks
no,
it
you
fits.
watched our debate, right? You watched our initial
I-
debate, right?
I don't think that that's
Max,
what he
you
was
watched
doing.
our
I
initial
think,
debate, right? This is important. You watched our initial debate, right?
I'm not gonna get DRS.
yes, but I don't want to
He's
talk about it.
explicit. He says the word moral.
Yes, I know, but then
Oh,
you
I got
pushed
it!
him on it, and then he dropped the word moral after that, and he said,
I don't
"Okay,
recall
just-
him explicitly saying no, it's not moral.
okay. I believe that the debate is not so much about. We're only.
I think
talking
it's
about the
way worse if he's
morality
not
because we're
drunk.
Talking about whether
Is it worse if he's
aligns
drunk? No,
with
it's
his
way worse if
values,
he's not drunk.
whether it's
if he's
subjective
drunk,
but
this is
as a
somewhat
liberal,
permissible.
Does he think that's okay
Like, this is-
to do? Does that
like
align
it
with
doesn't
his
make it
liberal values?
much better, but
So I want
makes
you
it
to
a little bit
explain
better.
why that liberal
it's a couple
value
margins better if
of-
he's
yeah,
super
it's
wasted.
reasonable.
Well, no,
Not
just
reasonable,
gives him an
like,
infinite cop
because
out.
it says so in the
Ah,
Bible,
drunk.
but just reasonable as a person, as a liberal with these values. I believe this is reasonable to go defend this property. Explain why that is right wing in this case.
Because he is identifying the moral with the protection of property, which is the protection of the constituent element of the liberal state, which means that he is tacitly on board with the use of violence
Okay,
to
can you wait?
to defend
can you-
against
Can you
propaganda
contrast?
of the deed, to use an anarchistic phrase that is butchered, against the constituent element of liberal politics.
Can you
of the state.
contrast that? Can you contrast this? Is it a conservative value to believe that black people?
Do you think Sunday would
with
mean Lucky
ARs
Chloe?
should defend their property?
Who would
if
Sunday
the
mean?
KKK are doing a pogrom?
No, because the KKK are conservative of traditional historical values, prioritizing whites over blacks.
What?
Okay, so the
It's
reason so
reactive,
the-
but it's not.
So like, at this point, it sounds like President Sunday just is okay with defending property against bad people and not okay with defending property against good people. I don't know.
Wait, I have a contribution. I think there's a better example you can use.
Wait, everybody stop. No,
No, this is
stop,
important.
stop,
This is really
stop. No,
important.
you just said
Max.
something, and I want Supreme. I want you
Max,
to. I want you
listen
to.
to me.
I want you to
Max.
co-sign your own statement, or I want.
Peanut bottle.
No, stop it.
Max.
Stop
No,
it,
it's
Sunday.
important.
Stop.
Max, please.
I'm the
5
moderator.
seconds.
I have been
5
brought in
seconds.
here to stop this very thing.
Max.
This very moment is my destiny. This moment is my destiny. I was
Oh,
born
no.
to tell you to shut up right now.
Oh, my
You
God.
have to
Max,
stop. You both have.
destiny
No.
has a
No.
life. It's over.
Sunday. You have to stop.
I was gonna-
Now, the
least one good
statement you just made
Can I pee?
is that this statement.
I need to go to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bathroom, please.
Yeah,
5
yeah, of
seconds.
course.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll be right back. Jesus
Take your
Christ.
time. Okay, no discussing the case. I don't want any of you to watch the news or look at social media during this break. Okay?
I can't pass Alonzo, bro.
No photographs. No videos. I'm going to talk to my chat. Supreme, I see you're already talking.
He's gone, right? Okay. Do you and I...
No.
What's up?
No. We're not talking about Sunday behind his back.
No, I don't want to talk about Sunday behind his back. I want to propose that we just kick Sunday and you and I just talk about Rittenhouse if you want. That sounds way better.
No.
Okay.
No.
Can we do a poll?
No. If you do a poll, I'll kick you and I'll talk to Sunday about
Paste.
you. We'll do it. I'll change the title to Character Assassination Stream, and we will string you up.
Which things are we gonna like?
Oh,
is
in
it
the
no
inside.
holds barred?
Oh my god.
Are you gonna say negative things? Which things would you maybe, refrain from
You don't want to
saying?
know. Yo, you don't.
No, which things would you refrain?
You absolutely
Not which
don't want to.
which barriers would you cross?
Oh, but doesn't Leclerc still
I'm
have a
gonna read
penalty?
my super
Oh no,
chat.
he served his 5-second penalty, didn't he?
And then when Sunday returns, we'll continue talking.
That's not his name anymore.
Okay.
Tell Sunday
I'm not
to
passing
improve
these guys
lighting.
into
He's come on. He's improving his production value, and Supreme and I have some of the sweetest setups around. We know that. That's okay. Thank you, Nesivar. Thank you.
It's all the camera for me.
And the lens. Sorry, Max.
Yeah,
but
you're
I
right,
can't
yes.
stand this
Dude,
brand
from
of
the back to the
socialism.
front,
Far
that's
too
fucked up,
brain dead
dude.
for me personally. Hope it goes well. I won't find out.
And after taking out his
Whether
teammate.
Angela is out. Rhonda, here's
Leclerc's like,
money for
I'm winning
stuff
this
and
championship.
things. Thank you.
Back.
It was all part of his plan.
Okay, I believe Sunday is
Thank you,
making
wanna
a
be
distinction
intellectual.
between
Thank you,
property
Fuck
and
Fun.
possessions, where a possession is something that
And,
that is
Brian
personal or
Rock.
that you create a moral justification for or something
Ask
like that.
Sunday
And property is
when he's gonna stop
definitionally
being such a
something. The question I would
nerd
want to ask is,
and go
can
get
this cup be
Never.
both a possession and
passively
property?
onboard some-
Like that's
I
kind
want
of
to
the
ask.
stuff
No,
that
I would want to ask more about houses. Like, what about your house? What about like a business, or like a house that you own? So like a business, I can understand where he's coming from more. It's like, oh, you have to lease the building, so you're doing like the building is something else, and the business is like the things inside of it. So destroying the things inside the business or the possessions, destroying like the building around it is it's destroying the property. And I don't, yeah, and it's like, okay, like, but what I want to know is about like houses and stuff like that, because you consider like, so it's like a brick on your house a possession or a property. That's what I want to know. But it suddenly become daytime.
I want to offer Max, but like I don't think Max is understanding that when
I'm not gonna ask.
Sunday hears the term property, he's
Well, no, ask me.
exclusively
God,
hearing
and content.
like
ask
an
me.
object that the
No,
state
we're not
is
doing content.
like
We're doing
protecting the sanctity
a
of
sober
Has anyone ever told you,
or
by
at
the way,
least
Max, that your voice has like
the fact that you
incredible
possess that
ASMR
thing or
quality?
something.
It's incredibly relaxing. I'm super conflicted.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
welcome.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Stop abusing Shayla. Continue.
Okay.
Probably I need to charge my.
Speak.
No, say my.
Let me tell you something about
My
women. Okay?
tires,
If
man.
I stop abusing Shaylin, she'll break up with me.
She will.
Okay. Right. We don't want that.
I
Okay.
want it.
Now, where were we? Okay, so Sunday had just made the claim that it is right wing and liberal, and right wing, to defend property depending on the reason the property is being attacked. So if you're black and the KKK are attacking the property, you are not being right wing if you defend it with an AR. But if the people attacking your property are protesting against the state, even if they are
You know, Hamilton just
led,
totally gap him.
if
Oh
they're
my god, where's
intending to
Hamilton?
protest against
Hamilton's
the
just
state
gone.
and are
It's
destroying
past
property,
Ocon too.
and you are white
Jesus.
and you come in
Oh
I'm
my
gonna blue
God.
steel through this whole
No,
thing. I'm
we're-
gonna
we're not.
fucking
We said
model.
it's his community.
Screw
So
it.
if you're white and you're defending property from people protesting against police brutality,
That's
then you are
crazy.
right wing by defending that property. So you should let people destroy
The
your
issue is I
property
don't
if
think
you
I can
want to be
defend
called
my
a
position
right-winger by
against
Sunday,
Bobcats.
depending on their motivation. Is that true?
Are you talking to me or
I
him?
don't think Magnuson's ever gonna catch
You.
Alonso.
Is that did I distill something out of what we just talked about?
No. The people whose property that is are entirely within their right to defend that property, both legally and ethically. You cannot tell a person not to defend their stuff. or their livelihood.
Black people
What
come
the
in
hell's
from a neighboring
People who were
town.
shot were not black people. This has been a point of.
I want you
focus.
to answer this question.
Yes.
The KKK are doing a pogrom.
Okay.
A black
You know what a
person.
pogrom is, right? It's not a protest. You need to be careful
Yes.
here. Okay.
I
good.
know.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the KKK are rioting. Let's just make it even. The KKK are rioting, and they're destroying businesses. And a black person comes in to defend another black person's car lot because they believe they want help defending their property. Is this right wing?
No.
Okay, so again, we can distill it down to the difference. In one situation, you're saying it's right wing. One situation, you're saying it's not. We have the motivation of the people causing the destruction, and we have the race and identity of the people defending the property. That makes the difference. Now
it doesn't,
Supreme,
because the people whose property Rittenhouse was defending were also not white.
Sure, but still. Okay, Supreme, do you want to respond to that?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck there was to respond to that. I don't even.
I mean, you asked and you didn't tell him to respond. I mean, you could. You're the moderator.
No, if he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to.
This is true.
I do have a question. Can this
We'll let it go.
Can this cup right here be both a possession and property?
No.
It can only be one or the other.
Colloquially, we do refer to property as simply that which we possess. But when we're talking legally and we're talking politically, property is not simply a possession. Property occupies space.
Yeah, and
a possession can occupy space.
A possession can occupy space philosophically, but in terms of the law's capacity to register it, it can only occupy two-dimensional space on a flat plane.
Okay, so he is literally talking about like the thing at which you define a property, which is like your property's, I don't know, whatever, 300,000 square feet or whatever the fuck. You have 10 acres of land. That is property. But he's okay with you defending your property if someone's like comes over with a sack and starts stealing your dirt. He's okay with that. And he would probably be okay with if you start taking bricks off someone's house. He'd probably be okay with you defending that as well. I would have to assume. I'm gonna stay very confused on his position.
Okay, what would you, if the state didn't exist, and I wanted to like, claim ownership of this cup? What word would you describe or use to describe that this cup is associated with me, and that I have domain over it?
I wouldn't. There's literally nothing except for the fact that you are using it in this moment to actually connect you to that cup. God does not tell you that that is your cup. There is no cosmic rule that says that is your cup. You are simply using a cup, and you are declaring that it is yours because there's a social precedent for doing so that protects your usage of the cup.
What's wrong with Botas?
Is there a word that you can think of to describe that you would just predict that since you always see me, if we're just cavemen out in the wild, and
the
you
word
see...
is chanson, and it's coined by Max Weber, and he characterizes things like ownership and legitimacy, etc., as the likelihood that your usage of this phrase to describe your use of the cup will be respected into the future.
Okay, I'm sorry, the word is chanson?
Chanson, it's the plural of chance. Yeah, I thought you read like a bunch of sociologists said that last time.
Yeah, I missed this word.
Apparently. Economy and Society, it's a good read. Actually, it's a terrible read. It's super dry, but it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, can this cup be both chanson and property?
Oh,
no,
the inside.
Chanson is the likelihood of a community in which you are
get fucked.
engaged, I suppose, is the language. Following through in congruence, in concert, submitting to the practice that this terminology implies.
I don't want to talk about the cup. I want to finish talking about written.
Well, I want to make sure you have the right words so that Sunday's not going to diatribe about some super technical political theory definition of
We already
I
distilled.
don't think I've
cars
diatribed about any political theory definition.
We already distilled it down and figured out that one of the main differences between your
How do you have
take and Sunday's
DRS?
take about the Rittenhouse shootings is that what makes your views right wing is the circumstances and the beliefs and the reasoning behind the people who are destroying property. You've elected to not address this, but in doing so, I think you've pretty much run the debate into a brick wall. Is that on purpose?
Max, do you like me? What the hell's going on here?
Do
I was
I like
expecting
you?
I was expecting you to be like a biased moderator against me.
No, I honestly like both of you. No, I'm not. I don't want to be biased. I like you both.
You can't. Man cannot serve two masters.
Well, I don't consider either of you my master.
You're wrong, then, aren't you?
I guess so. Supreme,
what's up.
I feel like you're not listening.
Should I go hard on my tires soon? They're so
I mean,
close to
you
just being on the
repeated a lot
fringe.
of things. I've listened. I feel like if you were to bring up a question, I'd be able to ask it and I'd be familiar
The
with it.
question
Everyone else's
is,
tires are probably
will you respond?
off than
Well,
mine, right?
I said
Yeah.
the question is, did you derail the debate on purpose?
Me?
Yeah.
Hamilton's got a faster
no.
car.
You said
The
me,
answer-
but
the simple
while
answer
Sunday,
is
while
no.
Sunday was while Sunday was in the bathroom, you asked me to kick him. So when I say, did you derail the debate on purpose, and you go me, I think that's a little disingenuous.
Well, I didn't know that's what you were referring to, and I didn't realize that
I'm
derailed
not
the
referring
debate.
to that. I'm
He
not
asked you to
referring to.
kick me?
Yes.
So he
I'm not-
asked you to evacuate me from the conversation first? I'm
Holy
pretty sure
shit.
that
Well, hold
counts
on.
as
I did
Wicked
not.
Supreme running away.
I did not. I asked if Max wanted to just have this conversation between he and I. That this would be, I suggested
That's
this
the
would be
same
more
as
interesting.
that's the same as asking me to do it.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
Listen,
Wicked, just say that it's fucking boring as shit. Okay, holy shit. I don't know why you need to like pseudo weasel your way out of this. It's just the conversation is unimaginably boring.
Supreme,
Yellow
I
bellies.
think
Oh,
you-
give me
I-
that DRS. Give me that
I think
DRS.
you actually might hate Sunday too much to be able to have this conversation.
Yeah, I didn't want to get double passed though.
Maybe that's what it is.
I like you, Supreme.
I
to
didn't
be
get
honest.
DRS.
I like your hair. I like your beard. I like
I'm
your style.
absolutely fucked.
I appreciate you.
I'm totally
I like your
fucked.
towel on your chair. I like the weird
Listen,
stars you got in the
I just got
background.
absolutely
Max,
cut
Max,
as
I
a
like
little.
your beard. You
Being
know,
attracted
I
to
get too
somebody is
itchy,
not
I
the
can't
same
do
as
it.
liking them.
Oh no!
I've
I'm
discovered
not
this
attracted
myself.
to him at all. Can't do beards. Can't do beards at all. Neither of you.
Oh.
I know we've got like this sublime circle of people like sex offenders here, but like honestly, I'm not attracted to either of you. But I gotta say, I appreciate the aesthetic.
Okay. Listen. Supreme.
What's that?
Feels like the bad faith you've taken on.
You're
thin
killing
ice,
me,
okay?
homie.
The ice is cracking underneath you. I want to see a show.
Okay, he passed Alonso.
of
Thank
genuine
fucking God.
effort
Put a neutral.
to get back into this and get somewhere productive. The last
Honestly,
thing
we'll just
I
take the
volleyed
points
to you
at this point.
was that Sunday
We'll just
says,
take the points.
based on the
Just-
motivation of the rioters,
Should I tell Mick to hold everyone back
that
behind
changes
us? Oh no, it's
whether
Magnuson.
defending property
Magnuson,
from them
hold people
is
back.
right wing or not. You didn't say that, but I
us
distilled that
points.
from
I think
giving some hypotheticals and some examples.
I think if
I
I,
think
tell
there's some
Mick to
dimension
go,
that we
he's just gonna
could
fucking.
predict, or that we could start
waddle it.
like doing some sort of analysis on like the likelihood that somebody being there, maybe presenting the veneer that they're there, defending property or something, has ulterior motives. Yeah, I think
Hold
that's
back and
fine,
keep
but I
him
don't
in
think
DRS
there's anything essential there in terms of the nature of what drove people to riot or
6
something like
laps.
that, and like how that is like. How that alludes to any sort of essential meaning for the fact.
I mean,
that
why,
people are
why
there
didn't either of us have
defending property.
DRS?
I believe Sunday. Is
Oh
saying
my-
that
oh
if
my
people are
God.
rioting against the state, even if they're destroying private
Homie,
property,
I'm getting absolutely
the act of
fucked.
defending that property from that riot
There's a.
is an act of working with and for the state.
Jesus.
I think that's what he's saying.
That's interesting. I think a person can claim to, like rightful ownership of objects in a way where the state doesn't even exist. Like, I think the presence of the state is completely irrelevant here in
Max,
terms of the
can I-
Kindred brothers.
Can I make one final intervention? I promise I will never challenge your authority as moderator again in this conversation.
No, I want
I
you to
am-
respond to what Supreme said.
Can
I want you guys to
quickly-
both stop just talking to me. I want you to talk
I
to each other.
intend
I feel like I'm
to.
just
I
having.
intend to.
I
No,
talk
but
to you, and then
so what I'm saying-
Supreme starts talking his chat. I talk to Supreme, and you start
Max.
fucking. It's
No,
like
but
it's
Max,
like
Max,
it's like-
I'm trying to come on side to you here. Just hear me out, please.
no. I want you to respond to what Supreme said. Then afterward, if you want.
I
if you-
can't remember.
Oh,
I'm,
Magnuson, sweep on the
so
inside.
intoxicated. So what I wanted to ask was
Okay.
honestly.
No.
To be totally honest with you.
No. You don't get to claim that that this isn't real and Supreme. No, stop it. Everybody stop
I'm
with the
not. It's
evasion
just- this
and
thing's
that
like 2 liters and
spinelessness.
it's already done.
You're being recorded forever. This is gonna follow you around for the rest of your life.
Mick!
Don't start
No.
undercutting yourself by saying you're intoxicated. Supreme,
I do
said
really
something.
well when intoxicated.
I want you to respond to what Supreme said.
Which can you recapitulate it for me? We talked so
No,
long, I quite forgot.
Okay, Supreme, would you repeat what you said about?
You can't remember either.
Oh, I can't remember.
I think a person's claim to ownership over objects and a person's will to want to defend or feel like their ownership over an
Why?
object is rightful is
In
completely
the absence of the state is completely legitimate. Why?
well, is
why do you
completely
think so?
agnostic to the presence of a state.
Why? Where does it come from then?
It can come from like the presence of morals or values
How
that,
did I know
that
he
make
would
Where
you
do
feel
those
that
come
it's
from?
just.
Hang on. Wait. No. You don't just like gesture at morals or values like this magical black box that just satisfies the conditions of your argument. Why do you think so?
I guess I'm curious. Is it important why I think so?
Did I knock Alonso out?
It
Where's
is
he
if you
at?
want to be
Oh my
taken
god, I'm so
seriously.
sorry.
If you're just saying this because this is useful or convenient for you, then no, I'm not going to take it seriously.
Is it important to reach a satisfactory understanding?
These Magnuson will get points now.
Would you?
I guess.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, then why do we have to
Should we
talk
just
about
retire the car?
Indeed. Max, what I was going to say is, honestly, my preference at this
Well,
juncture,
3 laps to go,
because
like,
I have
yeah.
not heard any challenge whatsoever to my thesis whatsoever, is I actually am legitimately curious on a person-to-person level, what is his background and what he's interested in. Because now I actually want to talk to
Alonso's so far back.
I want to
His
know
car
like,
is
what
fucking
he
broken.
cares about, what he values.
I'm
what
almost gonna
he's
get a free
read,
pit out
what
of him.
he's
I'm not gonna
interested in,
fuck you. I'm
da-da-da-da.
sorry.
I actually am gonna get it.
Well, we don't have to go.
I still have this stuff.
Look. Don't.
He's
making.
So
Wait a second. Supreme.
Also, I don't even know if he's a bottom yet.
Stop it. Supreme. You've complained
Okay, maybe we can pass battle,
multiple
guys.
times that Sunday is not interested in what you believe, that he has not Socratic method.
It's a bad note. Yeah, we got it.
And now he's
Just,
offering.
we're
to,
literally just sitting here for
and
points
you're
now.
mocking him. So I want you to
Charging up your
genuinely
DRS
answer
at
this. Do you
your
think
shit's
it's better
not
if we moved from? Because I'm just going to keep pinning you down on the
New
defensive
Mexico is
property
super hard.
is right wing, depending on the motives of the people attacking it. I want to
Gotta
keep
catch
pinning you
up to
both
anyone
down
you
on that until
can.
you either have an irreconcilable difference
to
or figure it
slam
out.
into the back
or
of
we can move into Supreme interviewing you, which I'm
fucking
fine with. I mean, Sunday
Alonso.
interviewing you, which I'm fine with. Supreme. So what do you want to do?
Like I said, my goals for this conversation, I stated from the beginning, are to reach an
Just 3 seconds behind
understanding,
me.
right? To reach an understanding of each other's
Kinda catching up,
values in
really.
regards to whether
Well,
or
I
not
have
I'm
no
a.
doubt.
I'm
I
sorry.
have no doubt that's going to happen. But the question is, do you want to get there by continuing to debate, or do you want him to interview you?
No, I don't want him to interview me. No.
Why don't you interview me?
Do you want a genuine answer to that?
Yes.
I don't think you're interesting.
No. I'm wounded.
I'm sorry, it's the honest truth. I talk to students every day.
Hey, Max, do you want to interview me? I've interviewed you. I think that'd be fair. Maybe you should remove Wicked from the chat and it should just be you and me. I'll talk to you till the cows come home in the morning. Is that when they come home?
Joe, why did you
Is that
catch
how
up with me?
the
So,
phrase
Zoe's actually gonna pass me.
I think it's just till the cows.
His homie doesn't have broken
he
tires.
does believe in
Oh,
lethal
okay.
force
Have a
and
super chat. It says, Max,
self-defense.
Can we
He
move away
does.
from the property thing and
He's
see
actually
if
gonna pass
President Sunday believes in using lethal force and self-defense?
Because for some reason,
He does
I don't know if
believe
it's
in
like
using
intentional
lethal
to the
force.
game,
Yeah,
but once you hit
categorical.
below
Or-
30%
or
tires,
at
your
least
tires.
It's not.
you
It's
start
not.
going
That's
real
not
slow.
central to the debate because it's not a right or left wing issue. The central part of the Rittenhouse case is when you're defending
Oh, let's
property.
get this up fucking back.
In certain cases, are you
Hey,
acting
chat,
as?
be nice.
Are you
Or
acting
my
as an
opponent
agent?
just not
Oh, it's
$30
not
to
working, it's not
Russell.
working.
Sorry, I'm talking
Are
to
you-
the chat. My apologies. Didn't you?
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I know they're rude. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say.
You got. I just wish if you want to call each other ugly, just call each other ugly.
He's not ugly. He's beautiful. He's got excellent bone structure. That hair is glorious. I'm sorry. That is a look. There is no
It
denying
shows. It shows a complete lack of conviction in both of your beliefs about this. That you're unable to have this conversation.
I'm ready to have the conversation. I'm trying to.
I'm
You don't appear
incredibly
ready. You know.
intoxicated.
You asked me to kick him while he was gone. Sunday's saying he's drunk. You're insulting each other's
Yeah,
appearances.
I feel reasonably assured that he's not interested in having the conversation with me and like having
That's
us
fine,
understand
but that
our
doesn't give
positions.
you that doesn't give you justification to say that he's boring.
Well, I didn't say
How
that
does
he's
that
boring. I
follow?
never
If
said
you-
that he's boring.
You said I don't think you're interesting. I talk
Yeah,
to
yeah.
students all
Well,
the
he
time.
asked.
That's
Well,
the,
he
that's
asked
the
me
same
why
as
I
calling
wouldn't
somebody
interview him.
boring.
Not necessarily.
I can't believe I have to pin you guys down on your fucking petty insults to each other. You're like children.
I think people can be interesting and boring. Like people can have interesting details about their life, but their their demeanor and their conduct and like their cadence, the way they speak, something like that. They can be boring or something like that.
Why do you? Okay, you both seem intensely angry at each other.
I'm having the
Alright.
time of my life, dude.
Are either of you willing to admit that?
I don't
Well-
hate him. I mean, he's actually kind of growing on me, to be honest.
Like asking me if I admit it just sort of predisposes that it's true. I would just reject that
It
it's
does.
true.
Okay. Okay. Do you have an explanation for why you are unloading barbed, underhanded.
I don't
attacks
feel that I am.
at President Sunday. Okay, so your stance is you are not making underhanded barbed comments.
I think it's been a while since I have. When there's a reason I asked him, do you want me to be honest? Like when he asked me to interview him, and I said I just don't think you're interesting. That's not a barb. That's just the honest truth.
Actually, no, I don't think you're a bad person.
I don't mean anything by it. I recognize it's hurtful, and I wish I.
Hang on, no, not you, Max.
Okay, well, no, I just want to get on the record, Supreme. You're saying that you are not making underhanded, passive-aggressive comments towards Sunday. That you actually believe this.
I think I have earlier. I can't remember when the last time it was.
When's the last time?
I feel like it's been. When was the last time I spoke? Like 2 hours ago? Before this? I think it was around that time.
Okay, so you're actually making an underhanded barbed comment right now in your denial that you're making them at all. Are you aware of that?
Fair enough. Yeah, I did make one there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I just don't understand. Like, if you guys get mad at each other, that's fine. But like, why do you have to retreat to insincerity and like fakeness when you get mad? Why don't you just like get mad? I don't get it. Also, the chat would find it more interesting too if you just got actually mad and we're just like, "Wow, you're making me angry," like, or just act angry. I just
one needs, Max. I can answer that for you very clearly. One needs to have a baseline level of respect to be angry in the first place.
Well, then why are we talking if you don't have again? You have to be. I think in order to have an interesting conversation.
I'll tell you exactly why.
In order to have an interesting conversation, you have to afford the other person. You have to be able to.
We're on the same page. Listen to me. Just listen to me.
No, we're not. You're doing the same shit.
I'm not. I'm actually telling you something very.
This is MrGirl's bread and butter.
Right
this
now.
is it. He's like, you know what? I recognize there's not going to be any debate or any moderation here. This is just. I'm just going to do my shtick of like, you know, the MrGirl counseling session or something like that.
Is because, frankly, Wicked Supreme saw that the previous conversation did numbers, and we're doing it again. That's it. To be honest with you, I was actually overjoyed. I was overjoyed when you said you would moderate when you proposed that, because honestly, you're the only interesting person in this call.
Supreme's behavior or motivations should not dictate your ability to be sincere.
I agree, and I'm totally sincere right now. I'm actually being
completely sincere. This is just MrGirl content.
But it doesn't matter if it's sandwiched by insincerity and
no, it's sandwiched by a
like it's way more interesting. It's way more fun than what we were doing before. I don't know.
Insincere, but that's not insincere.
Look at that! Wow.
The way you're meeting out your cruelty is still.
It's drunk. I have no idea how this is actually.
You are.
You
are still being passive. Well, it's going to look like you're being really.
I am being overtly aggressive. Let's not have any offense.
No, you're being no. Saying chat. He doesn't look like a dime store Russell Brand. That's the definition of passive.
It was a mission. It was actually an assassination.
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
That's crazy. Dude.
Okay.
I'm being naughty.
Okay, so what I don't understand is.
I don't think it was any
if it makes the
we
conversation stretch out
just
forever
all these
and be
high-speed
more
courses are totally
it makes it impossible to talk about anything interesting.
I don't think
if your feelings are getting in the way, we could just talk about your guys' feelings.
He doesn't want
but
to.
It basically
No,
you. I'm talking about you. No, both of you are doing this. So saying he doesn't absolve you of anything. The fact is that when you're streaming, if you're talking to random people all the time, you're constantly going to encounter people who are bad faith, who are being passive-aggressive, who don't actually respect you, don't respect the conversation. If your response is to fold in the face of that and start doing all the same things that he or she or whoever you're talking to is doing, you're acting as like you're spreading boringness throughout the land. It just becomes impossible to talk about anything. And then, so if you're too mad to talk about it, then let's just talk about why you're mad.
It's a lot of turns.
There's something that both of you know about the conversation that would be interesting to talk about, but you refuse to actually do it.
I'll grant you that. I'm happy to do so. Let's do it. Let's do exactly what you propose. Wicked, do you consent?
We're going to suck here. We might suck here.
Do I consent to what is it? I'm sorry.
Talking about why you guys hate each other.
Oh, I don't.
We'll
I don't
probably suck here.
That's a lie.
Well, let's
probably gonna suck
radically
here.
dislike and are antagonistic towards be a synonym for hatred.
And we might be okay here.
Yeah.
Antagonism.
Why do you think I hate President Sunday?
Because you act like you hate him.
Do I?
Yeah, you're relentlessly passive-aggressive and condescending.
Am I relentlessly passive-aggressive and condescending? Maybe I do that to people I like.
I just said that. So, like, again, like, no, it's not true. You don't do that to people you like.
Well, how do you know?
See, and now you're being evasive.
No,
So
I'm
we
asking
can't
how
talk
you
about
know.
anything. We can't talk. Even the suggestion that you have a feeling leads to a 5-minute evasion of like, well, let's define hatred.
Maybe
Let's
in
define
this
passive
case-
Well,
aggression.
you're claiming to know me and my
who kn-
nature, and our
Hey,
interactions have
Max,
been really
maybe,
limited. And
Max and Wicked, I'm addressing
I'm
you both.
calling into
Maybe-
question your ability to predict what my behavior
maybe
says
in
about my
this
emotions.
maybe in this
My
particular case,
ability
maybe in this
to
Max, please just
Yeah.
bear with me, okay? I'm on your side here. Maybe in this particular case, moderation is actually presenting an additional barrier. So why doesn't Wicked Supreme just tell me directly why he dislikes me?
Oh, I do dislike you. I don't hate you. Hate is a different thing.
No,
Dislike just
didn't
means I
say you
don't
hated
like.
me. I didn't say you hated me.
Yeah.
I don't hate you either.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think
You
you're.
take a minute and think
If I
about
could sign protest,
I'm sorry?
Why don't you take a minute and think about it?
Yes,
You
we'll
can
take
say it
out
really
we'll take
well.
out Magnuson, but we'll pay the fee. I don't care.
I think you're kind of delusional. I mean, I wouldn't want to be around you for that reason. You seem to not really take input from anybody or think that anybody can have any insights about you that are accurate that you don't already agree with or something like
Example?
that. I feel like the legion of your fans that are like begging you to stop doing these conversations and get back to making content
I
that
haven't
you
seen the
and
Legion.
everybody
Maybe I'm
else
deluded, but I
enjoys.
haven't seen this.
Okay, I'm moderating again. Supreme, answer that question. Why don't you like him?
I am answering
Sunday,
it.
Sunday, don't defend yourself. I know, but you're getting derailed. Don't argue.
I'm not getting derailed.
If you don't, yeah, well, he's derailing you. You
Well,
don't
he's asking
like
for
him.
evidence of why
We
I
don't need
perceive a
evidence.
thing.
No, you don't like him. You don't have to prove you don't like him. So don't Sunday. Don't ask for evidence. Just explain why you feel the way you do. And I know you don't want to own an emotion. You want to say I don't like you. I'm gonna say for the record, I believe that you are angry and extremely frustrated. So when you say
No,
I
I'm
don't
not.
like him, I don't like him is a very protected, non-vulnerable way to say that somebody is upsetting you. And you can do that, and you can say, oh no, I'm not feeling anything. I'm blah, 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 I'm totally fine. That's fine, but I don't believe you.
Well, isn't that classic?
It is. It is. Okay, so continue. Explain why, in your words, you don't like President Sunday.
You have 2 shit gearboxes, true.
I'm sorry. Did you get the name wrong again or what?
Explain why, in your words, you don't like President Sunday.
You are asking me. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I listen, it's just like not liking somebody is just not a positive state, right? Like if I see a complete stranger on the sidewalk, I don't like that person.
So your feelings towards President Sunday are the same way you feel when you walk by a stranger on the sidewalk.
No, I think he has negative qualities as well.
Okay, so then why don't you
So
talk
it is
about
a little
why
more than
you
that,
don't
but
like
one
President-
time.
Yeah, it sounds like it is more than that.
Side pods.
It looks like it's more than that. It sounds like it's more than that.
You don't have anything.
I
to
think
go into it,
President
but
Sunday's
40
engagement
something
with
days, whatever.
intellectual endeavors is like really masturbatory
just-
and doesn't come from a genuine
I'll have
place.
to
And
remember
he
that
seems
we're gonna do
to,
another one right after
I think,
this.
wield the fruits of
Once
this
we get our
as a
ATR
cudgel
stuff.
to like express his superiority or his dominance over people. And I think he derives a great deal of
Unless
enjoyment.
I can develop a
And
design it.
I think it comes off as really smug and just generally dislikable.
design one.
I don't think
fast.
he's
I'll
super
make it
interested in like sharing things that are enjoyable with people if he perceives them as a threat, even if he has no real reason to. Even if somebody's like coming to him in good faith and saying, "Hey, you're making," in this case, I'm
Yeah, we're just
just
gonna
talking
go
about this
research.
situation. You're making this claim. I'd like to discuss this claim.
Or should I do?
I think
actually,
this
I'll
is
just do
evidenced
another,
by
I'll
the
do-
fact
I'll
that
do, like, front
if you
videos.
look through every single one of
I'll
our
do
Twitter interactions, I haven't insulted him a
Yeah,
single time, but that's the only thing I've gotten in return.
Was not, if I may,
Yeah, wait.
interject, was not
hold
our
on.
initial Twitter interaction on
Wait,
this
stop.
topic. You referring to me as a failed
Don't,
leftist
no.
content creator.
No, we're talking about feelings now, so there's no arguing anymore.
All right.
Okay, Supreme, did you start disliking Sunday when you saw him doing this, what you're describing, to other people, or when he's doing it to you? Okay, so you disliked him from the start.
Well, yeah, the first time I saw him interacting with, I think it was Doomer Media, Doomer Politics, and he was expressing the same tendencies.
We'll get our ATR
yes.
stuff back around that time, and then the under
Okay.
4 will be done. We'll wait
but
4
it
days
seems
and then
like
we'll get the ATR
you
as well.
came in. It seems like you've run out of patience pretty clearly to me.
Why do you think that?
Because you just seem like you are at the end of your rope.
Why? Well, what evidence is that? I guess. I'm here, aren't I? I'm answering your questions earnestly, right?
I didn't say you're off the end of the rope. You're just at it.
No, I'm far from the end of my rope.
Okay. You seem less patient.
I'm not even down the rope at all. I'm at the top of the rope.
I don't believe you. When you first started talking
It's
Sunday,
true.
you seemed more patient than you are now. Do we agree with that?
No.
So you have not lost any patience with Sunday throughout your interactions with him. No sense of frustration, encroaching on your ability to be good faith.
No,
or
I
not
wouldn't
be
say that. I'd say it
passive-aggressive.
wavers. It depends. It depends on the specific interaction. At this moment,
Good low speed down. That's what we got.
I
We got
have
good low
as
speed
much
downforce.
patience as when we started the conversation.
But
It's
you're
one of
not
the
actually
best low speed
talking to me,
downforce.
you're just talking to me.
Well, I was for a moment when he was asking me to
to get some good
describe why I
points.
dislike him.
Okay. All right. Well, Sunday, how do you feel about all that?
Truthfully, in the
Yeah.
context of this conversation, I think is representative of something that I have a tremendous amount of disdain for, but I don't dislike him personally, and I don't hate him, and I have a feeling we'd probably get along fairly swimmingly
Better spots.
if we met in real life. And I think the problem here, fundamentally, is that a lot of people are rewarded for engaging in a particular kind of activity in online politics that does not privilege honesty. And I mean honesty in a very deep way. I don't think Wicked Supreme is intentionally lying about anything. I think Wicked Supreme is rewarded for a particular kind of activity that does not actually have any long-standing congruence with being truthful or accurate. So, to be totally honest with you,
Yeah.
in terms of my engagement in this debate,
Yeah.
I'm massively relieved because I was expecting harder pushback than this. I haven't received any pushback on any of my points as far as I'm concerned, which frustrates me because the truth is I actually really do want intellectual engagement with these arguments, and I would very much be gratified if I was proved wrong by someone who was actually serious about doing so. And I'm not, which is frustrating because when you're in a situation where you are the only person who's taking these matters seriously at this level, you can't
What
gauge
is happening?
whether-
Am I just crazy, or has President Sunday not been the one memeing about it the whole time?
or not you're right, because everybody else is insane.
True, everyone
Which is the only reason why you and I are talking, Max, despite our very serious moral disagreements with each other, because unfortunately it seems like you're the only person here who's actually taking any of this seriously. Fuck me.
I'm taking it more seriously than you are, I think.
I really
Look,
feel like
man,
I took
we're
this
this
the
far
most
in.
seriously out of all three of us. Until it got to the point where, I think Sunday demonstrated a tendency to, fidget and laugh and like
spent-
gesture and like
dude.
outright dismiss everything. that
my
I was saying.
dude, the classic, my dude.
Like, I don't know. I feel like I've been earnest and I've been present through the conversation.
Blackbeard the pirate. Listen, here's the fundamental.
I mean, is that
problem
not an
here.
example right there? I have
Yes.
not
your
insulted
retorts-
President Sunday a
your
single time
retorts-
in 4 days. I haven't insulted President Sunday a single time. I think one time I insinuated he was being. I think I insinuated he was
You're
being
both
weaselly for not.
constantly insulting each other. You're constantly insulting each other.
I don't think that I've said anything that isn't completely substantive
Yeah, I can move.
or relates to his conduct in a truthful, accurate way.
What moves that the most?
You can insult somebody and still believe you're being truthful and accurate.
That's true.
This is true.
So it's not relevant.
I don't think I've said anything for the purpose of hurting President Sunday. I don't think I've intentionally tried to hurt the man.
But you have.
Why
I
do you think
cried
that?
last night.
Why do you think
Because
that?
because I cried last night, Wicked. I have
Like,
a
how are you not?
tremendous emotional
How are you the one taking this seriously right now?
investment in your approval of me. I just have that complex.
I said this the first time we talked. Have been really excited for the very first time that you choose to engage earnestly with me about anything. It just seems like 100% of your engagements have been this sort of like deflection or evading or obfuscating or something like that, or
That's not true.
like attempts
That's
to
totally not
railroad the
true.
conversation
My
into something that
engagements with
attacks my
people-
character.
My engagement with people like Vosh were absolutely not of that nature. My engagements with people like Dumar Politics were actually directly against their arguments, were extraordinarily dishonest. My engagement, even with Max, was not bad faith. I had very serious moral disagreements that I made very clear going in, and I said exactly what I would be doing in that conversation in advance. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, the problem we are faced with here is that your goal in this conversation is not fundamentally to challenge my thesis. It is to make me look foolish before a bunch of people who don't actually care if my thesis is true because they benefit extrinsically. Not extrinsically.
Listen, I mean this. I really, really mean this.
Unrelated way.
Listen, this is 100% genuine. I want you to know this because I really mean this. This is not an insult. If my goal was to make you look foolish, I would say nothing.
Lie.
This is not. I mean this. It is not. Listen, it may be insulting, but it is not meant to be an insult.
Look foolish. I'm even trying to make the moderator look foolish. Like let's not be ridiculous here. Like this is categorically obvious. Everybody in the audience knows that. Like, come on.
No, you're insinuating I'm trying to hurt you, and I'm not. Like, that's in our first conversation. This is why I said...
You've been trying to insinuate that I've been trying to run from the conversation on Twitter for days now. Even in our initial conversation.
Why do you think that?
Because even in our initial conversation, you kept alluding to it desperately, even though I showed no signs whatsoever of wanting to, that I was going to leave the call.
Well,
like, you were banking on it.
I'm
not going to.
That's not true.
Even with Destiny and Vosh, vicious debates. I stayed for over an hour and a half each time. Why?
I said nothing about this.
You actually did mention the Destiny conversation before. You did not mention the
I
second
did mention that it was brief.
Because the second one was not brief. You were
That's
quite
fine.
mistaken.
I didn't watch the second one. You asked me why.
I know you didn't. That was the thesis of what I just... That was a premise, rather, of what I just said.
Yeah, but me mentioning that it was a brief conversation was to distinguish it between the one that was not brief.
Wicked. I even have Stardust in my chat saying you got your ass handed to you here. So here's what I want to move to.
Stardust, that fucking traitor. I knew I couldn't count on her.
I don't like her either. But
the game is up.
Oh, hang on, Stardust. I didn't mean that. What I was going to say is I sincerely, and I don't mean this cynically at all, I lack the intellectual capacity to at this juncture. I have not slept for 4 days. I am a liter and a half down.
That can't be true because there were 12 straight hours where you didn't tweet.
That is that true?
Yes.
Okay, well, if I slept at all, it wasn't enough.
I was looking for updates because I asked how you were and asked if you wanted to move to next week, and I figured you were asleep, and that's why you weren't responding.
The DMs. I muted the DMs because I wanted you to just sort it out.
Come on, tell me the truth about that. I don't believe you.
I mean, you're muted right this moment. I can actually show you.
Why would you mute our group conversation where we're coordinating the event?
I'm a dick. Here, let me.
You didn't do it.
I did actually. Here,
you
actually,
didn't.
without touching it. Look, hands are free. I've got one hand on the mouse.
You didn't do it.
I'm actually going to show you it. Look at this. Let me move myself off the screen. Wait, that's not myself. This is myself.
There's no way I'm going to believe that you muted the conversation where we were coordinating the event.
Wait, that's not the right thing. Give me a sec.
Dude, don't show all your DMs. Don't do this.
I'm not showing all my DMs. Just showing some of my DMs. It's okay. So, does this say it's muted here? Does it? Hang on. Unmute conversation. Aha! There we go. Proof. I have to unmute the conversation. It's been muted this entire time.
As soon as he left the call, you said, "How long did I last?" You're being insincere. I wasn't inviting him to leave. That doesn't mean I was inviting him to leave. I knew that there was a huge joke.
What I was gonna say,
there was a huge meme and bets over how long he would last.
Sincerely, WickedSupreme.
It doesn't mean I was inviting him to leave.
And not just because I like your hair. I am legitimately curious about what your background is and what you're interested in.
Good for you.
Okay, I believe that the inability of both of you to process and talk about your emotions makes it so that you are unable to have heated conversations about political things that you care about. And I believe that this is actually infecting a lot of political streamers. Like we get angry, and as soon as we get angry, it gets derailed, and then we're just like flailing babies thrown into a pool, drowning because we don't know how to handle getting upset while we're talking to another person. I think this is a huge disservice to the discourse and also to the audience who probably wants to watch people have these conflicts, but not. It's there's either conflict, and it's funny because there's conflict, but you're fucking talking about nothing. You're just going in circles, flailing, or you have a really dry conversation that actually goes somewhere. But we don't get the combination of emotionally present political discussion because we're like not capable of it. It's
All I need to
very
do is point to this conversation and the previous conversation, every conversation President Sunday and I have ever had, where every single one of my questions and every single one of my answers are given in earnest, and every single one of my questions is answered not in earnest.
You mean just our like on?
You don't blame him for your actions.
I'm saying that I feel like my actions represent what I believe my motivations are.
Wow,
Keep
look at
saying
perfect.
I'm equivocating. That's not what equivocating means.
Mm.
Stop it.
I think Max is doing a swell job.
Thank you.
What a fucking night.
If I'm honest, I think, Max, you really like being in this role where you're trying to divine people's emotions and stuff, but I just really think your read is wrong often in this case.
If I thought ripping my eyes out would make it so I didn't have to be inundated with your innermost thoughts and feelings, I would do it, Supreme.
I believe you think that.
In a spirit of fairness, Max, can you criticize me in this conversation? Because I feel like you've been one-sidedly against Wicked here.
Yeah, you completely undermine your moral standing by saying that you're going to establish yourself as some like moral policer.
Have I said that?
No, but you've had this stance. You've established yourself as a streamer that calls out bad behavior in other streamers, calls out the grifters, calls out the liars. So I understand I'm not saying you're adhering to some moral code, but you're saying when people are doing something that you think is wrong, like Chud Logic's editor, for example, you will call out bad behavior.
I'm just glad we agree it's bad behavior, okay?
No, I'm saying you think it's bad behavior.
It's a better time,
so
I guess.
You will call out bad behavior. You call out my bad behavior. You call out Steven's behavior, whatever. And you're calling out grifters, blah blah blah. You've established yourself as saying I know what's important. I talk about what's important, right? But then when you have the conversation, you're petulant. You're apparently drunk now. You're passive aggressive. You divert. You fuck around, and so the fact the more weight you're giving, the more importance you're assigning to the conversation, the more irresponsible it is for you to not be able to weather having some conflict with the person you're talking to.
Am I failing to weather conflict with the person I'm talking to?
Yes.
How so?
You're failing to weather it in a way that does not derail the conversation.
Have I derailed the conversation?
Yes.
How so?
You derailed it from the start. The first thing you did was call him stupid. You said you didn't care the last time you guys talked. You called him stupid. You said it doesn't matter what he thinks because you know what he thinks. You gave him a purity test of a bunch of books. You quizzed him. You attacked not just his credibility with
just for my edification. Did you understand why I asked him those things? Especially with both books. That's actually important.
I think so, but I think you're extremely misguided. So
probably. Can you recapitulate to me what you think that was the reason?
I think that you think that we are relitigating ideas that have been talked about and solved and thought through better than any of us could possibly hope to.
Can I clarify?
And that if you were serious about these ideas, you would at least have some familiarity with the bodies of work that they came from.
Can I clarify?
No, because I'm giving you feedback, and now you're quizzing me. This is the thing. No, listen, this is the feedback. You default to the not petulant, what's the word? Patronizing, pedantic. You default to being pedantic. So even when you ask me for feedback, and then in the middle of my feedback, you start quizzing me. You're very comfortable being in the position. Just for the sake of getting your honest evaluation of what was my honest evaluation. I'm not talking about what's going on from your end. I'm saying that I believe that whatever is going on through your head, you are being irresponsible by simultaneously saying these are important topics that need to be talked about. We're talking about rape and transphobia and abusing power and people shooting each other, and then
guys,
you are like a pedantic.
The most beautiful gift has been dropped in my lap. We are listening to Michael Scott and Dwight Schrute, and I'm fucking Jim, which is not something I'm happy about because Jim is boring.
I don't think this is.
Jim is the laugh track of The Office. But from now on, every time Michael Scott says something funny, I'm gonna look at the camera. I'm gonna be the laugh track. I'm gonna go.
Not be able to have conflict with another person without derailing it.
If I consider the other person to be acting in bad faith, then me acting in good faith is simply putting the good position or the right position at a disadvantage, is it not?
At this point, I don't know who's memeing anymore. I see what Widio
it's not,
says
'cause
about
it's not
how
just
come
yours,
Mr. Girl
it's
has
people
legitimate
for the
criticism for
advantage
Sunday,
of
but
it,
for you it's some emotional. I don't believe you, BS. I can't tell if
I
you're
don't
actually
think
asking
so.
that or
I
if this
think
is a
that,
meme.
people
I
cheat
really
because
don't know
disadvantage,
anymore.
like it's a
I've
handicap or
been
something,
successfully
so it's
gaslit into
I
oblivion
think you're
about
scared.
what people
I
think
that
about
I have
me
won
and President
debates
Sunday.
I have lost just by remaining good faith. I think that the
Can
audience.
Can I level with you, Max?
I think the
I know you appreciate.
no, I know. I want to no,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
no, I want to respond to what you just said, and then you can level with me. I think that failing to maintain your good faith is a pretty serious problem in communicating about these ideas. I think that if the other person starts to be bad faith, you can call them out on it for sure. But being bad faith
Yeah.
yourself and giving
Okay. Okay.
their bad faith is an excuse, because bad faith is always just a theory. You never really know if someone's being bad faith.
Not
It's
bad
always an
faith if I
extrapolation.
tell you I'm out to war with you, right? But
It's
here,
always,
I'm gonna bear
it's
myself
always
to you.
no. Stop. It's
How do you
always
stay
an
so patient?
extrapolation. So if you
Dude, I'm in
guess
my
somebody else's
fucking
bad faith,
air-conditioned
and then you
house.
use that as an excuse to be bad faith yourself,
I'm
well,
in my
guess what?
comfy
That's what the other
chair.
person was doing in
I'm
the
in
first
front of my
place. Supreme's
computer.
been bad faith because he thought you're bad faith. You're bad faith because you think
What
he's
would I
bad
be?
faith.
What do I
If
have to be
if you're
frustrated
to
about?
be
I guess
a competent political streamer
the real.
or even conversationalist,
let me
interlocutor,
wait
you
until they get
have
hung
to
up
be
on something.
willing
This
to
is
believe
interesting.
wholeheartedly that the person you're talking to is bad faith and remain good faith yourself. And I don't think you have this either inclination or ability. That is my feedback for you.
You repeat that last bit. I didn't quite follow that.
To be a competent, and in your case, I think morally good interlocutor, political streamer.
What was the question?
You have to be able to stay good faith even when you believe that you're.
How am I so
opponent is
patient?
not.
I think the easy answer to that
Faith
about like
isn't
how I can be so
simply
patient during this is
Being civil
I've
and cordial.
seen
and
real
receptive
shit.
in
I've had.
conversation.
I'm like a
Faith is
real
also
adult.
two
I've had
things
real
that are extrinsic
problems.
to the conversation.
This nothing in my daily life
Yes.
constitutes a real problem.
If I,
Nothing
if I,
in
for the
my
sake
daily
of the
life and
fluidity of the
modernity
conversation
constitutes a
with
real
stranger, I
problem.
believe it's
I
acting in
guess
bad faith.
compared to
For
situations
the
I've been in.
cause that I'm
I
representing
think that's
under the bus,
the simple answer.
I am not being good faith to that.
No. You don't have to. You don't have to insult his physical appearance to
I
represent.
didn't
the
insult his
cause.
physical appearance. I sincerely.
Absolutely, you did.
No.
Absolutely, you did.
I
You
say
absolutely
this,
did.
listen, I ratify this sentence, and I say this with 100% sincerity.
No, this
as
doesn't take back
gospel
an insult.
truth.
I understand. This does
I
not
think
take
his
back an insult.
aesthetic-
Please do not compliment him. That does not take back the insult. That you know that doesn't make sense.
Oh,
Oh,
are
I
they
insulted
talking about me?
You said your chat said from behind the pathetic shield of saying somebody else said it.
By point
You
two?
said you made a comment about him looking like a dollar store Russell brand.
I
And
don't
that is
think
an
it looks
insult.
like a dollar store Russell brand at all. I
It
mean, I
doesn't
can't
matter
even
if you
imagine
think
what
that.
the comparison
Whether
would
you
be
think it's
because
true,
it's
whether
that
you
way.
think it's true is immaterial to the fact. And this is you being bad faith. Whether
is
you
true.
think it's true is immaterial to whether or not it's an insult. The fact is, you
You got me,
insulted his
Max.
physical.
Holy shit!
You
I
insulted
don't,
his
did they
appearance,
even end up
and this
talking
has
about
no
how
bearing
he's a grifter?
on
Like,
not
Exactly.
bringing up-
Did something more.
I would say,
concerning.
and
Nothing
the
has
feedback
happened.
I'm giving you is not that you should throw.
I have
your
to be
I wanna
honest.
see a tire
I am
under
bored.
the bus.
Like I'm not
by being
interested
too
in
cordial. I'm saying
either
you
of the
are
shticks
throwing
that's
your
happening
beliefs
right now.
under the
This is
bus.
Max doing
I'm
like
saying that
Max's
anything
shtick,
anyone
and
was gonna
President
take
Sunday's
from
doing
this
President Sunday's
seriously,
shtick.
anything you
I'm
had
just
to say
not
about
interested in it
fascism
personally.
and
I
property
would love-
and violence and capitalism.
I would just
and all
love
this
to
shit that
fucking
you care
hang
about,
out with Max
All of that's been completely
and just like chat
undermined by
about
you
stuff,
being
Nope.
normal
True.
stuff.
by
Movies.
you being a dick.
Video
Max, we
games.
both know that's not
Our
true.
thoughts on
Think
Kenosha
of
is
the
like
circle
super
you're
interesting to me.
associated.
I
You're
was 100%
associated
earnest.
with
No,
I'm like
I
a million
genuinely
times more
think that
interested
you-
talking to
my
Max about
feedback for
Kenosha
you
than
is that you are being a dick
than
that
President
is
Sunday.
undermining
The
anybody
mind reading
outside
shit
of
and
your own
the
family
like I don't know like
taking you
that
seriously.
stuff is
Now,
just not
if
that interesting. The
people wanna watch you be a dick,
psychoanalyzing
I know
and
you have
the
fans, and
that
you
stuff's just
will,
not.
I think
It's
you'll
just
keep
not
growing,
interesting to me.
But
I don't care that much.
you'll be growing a cancerous mass of assholes
Fine.
that get
Do I have
off
a piano? I
on
sure
watching you make other people look
Max,
stupid. It's
listen,
porn.
listen to me.
Do you
You're
feel
just
like
making
sticking
porn.
it out?
Let me concede. Okay.
Okay.
What would you have me do then?
Joe, what did you
Nice.
do?
With respect to
How'd
what
you get a
in particular,
penalty?
because I've said that my particular issue
You
here
do.
is my
All of it.
interlocutor is
My
being bad
interlocutor.
faith. If I'm engaging nicely as if he's not, that puts the true position as far as I'm concerned at a disadvantage. What would you
No,
have
no.
me do? It doesn't compromise both.
I can
What
give you
video games have I
specifics.
played recently?
Instead of
I
calling
played
him
Sekiro.
stupid,
And every time I play
Don't
a
call him
FromSoft game, I'm like, this
instead
is
of
just
telling
not gonna
him that
replace the
he
feeling I
doesn't know
had
what
playing
he
Dark Souls
believes.
1.
You know what the
Don't
problem
I just
is?
keep chasing the
Max,
dragon with these
don't say
fucking
that.
FromSoft
You know what the
games. It's
problem
the
is?
only type of game they make anymore. There's just these
If I don't
Souls-like.
call him
And every new
stupid,
one I
then the
play, I'm just like,
answer is
not
it's
as good as Dark Souls 1.
deliberate.
You don't
Slap on
have
a
to
dog shit
make a
take.
no. You don't have to make an assessment of his character one way or the other. Just have the conversation.
All right.
No one's
well, I was
holding a
willing
gun to your head.
Beef stew?
My
Hell
opening,
yeah.
my opening statement was made in complete good faith with the expectation that I would be.
No,
arguing
your
this.
opening statement is loaded with underhanded insults.
So, I thought. Hang on. We agreed that him being a grifter was not considered an insult in the eyes of the moderator, given that was his decision of a topic.
Yeah, Ghostface, actually, that's how I would rate them.
I like how they're
that's
just
true.
talking about him like he's
Dark
not
Souls
there.
2
Yeah, sure.
gets
But
a really bad rap.
you
But I also played
went
vanilla
beyond
DS2 and not
just
Scholars.
calling
And I
him a
think a lot of
grifter. I
people's
think you
idea
call
of Dark
him
Souls 2 is Scholars, which
stupid,
I've come to understand is like a really frustrating game
confused.
for
I
people.
mean, I don't remember.
Are you
they're
hyped
all-
for some
they're
good as
all,
Tekken 8?
couched
The
in-
teaser
it's all
is
passive
not great,
aggression. So
if
like,
I'm honest.
if you want me to mine through your opening statement and circle and read all that? times
Elden
you
Ring I
insulted
haven't
my
played
game?
because
But
that's the
you're-
thing.
You know that you are known like
He hasn't
by
played Elden Ring,
all
he's gonna say
Everybody-
Dark Souls
as a,
1 is the
like
best.
pedantic prick when you talk to people about these things.
Oh my
And I
god,
would
they're
even say
really
that's
getting
probably
into
what
it.
your audience likes. You probably now have cultivated an audience of people who enjoy watching
no,
you
Mick.
call people stupid.
You know, it would be easier if my audience actually agreed with me on almost anything that they.
How do you
don't.
not improve when you have
Um,
better soft tires on?
I'm not talking about what they say they want to watch for. I'm talking about what I believe they're actually watching for.
I
which
didn't
is
play
the- which
Bloodborne.
is a
So far,
pornographic
the only FromSoft games I haven't played are
stream up
Demon Souls,
of anybody you talk to.
Souls likes, I should say.
that aligns
Bloodborne,
with your
Demon
view of
Souls,
yourself
and
as
Elden
Hasn't
Ring.
even played Bloodborne
Everybody
either.
talks about Bloodborne as if it's
truth and
amazing.
justice.
Everybody talks about Demon Souls as
But
if it's like the real hardcore
I don't
Dark
think that's
Souls.
what they're watching
And I'm
for.
interested in
They
that.
wanna watch
And
you
everybody
call
talks about
people
Elden Ring
stupid
as if
and
it's this
Doobie
mind-blowing,
says
like
actively undermining the
absolutely
conversation
transcendent
in a way that makes it
experience. And
impossible
when
for
I
him to
look at
even
it, it looks like
advocate for
open
his
world
own
Dark Souls, but
positions
everybody I've
or
talked to is
call
like,
out the
no, it's
problems
way
with
more
his
than that. It's the best game I've ever played.
He is a
So I'm
pedantic, self-important
tantalized,
wall
but people
okay,
say
I
that shit
don't
about
like
Dark
it.
Souls 3 and
Okay,
Dark
can you
Souls
get a
3
good
to me was
Doobie?
so obligatory.
No, you're doing it.
The
I
whole
don't think there's
playthrough felt
any reason to
obligatory. It
add
felt
the
so
insult. If
boring.
you want to be taken seriously,
What a
you
dog
could
shit
watch
take, dude. I just don't know how he does
Sundays.
it.
You know,
Sekiro is the hardcore one? No
consideration
way.
of
Sekiro
your
is the
comment
easiest one.
evaporate
Sekiro
before
is
you start
simple.
insulting.
It's
Yeah,
really,
well,
really
That's
simple.
a good take.
All right.
the least
let's
hardcore.
speak totally candidly then.
Keep saying
Make
that.
improve.
I-
Somehow
I-
improve
I-
on their
How many
last sector.
fucking layers are we gonna peel off here?
The fact of the matter is, the face you see.
Well, I guess,
on camera
well,
is
you don't have a
identical to
shield
the
to
face
hide
fucked.
behind.
of
I guess in that way you
someone
actually
that
have to
say,
time your
"Oh,
attacks.
Oh
I just mean in
God.
terms of like
I
movement
stated
and positioning
in
and stuff like that.
unequivocal terms
Sekiro does a
I
lot
have
of things
fucking
for you
flares.
automatically, I think.
The smoke here is less so now today. Thank
You
God.
The
are
capping on Elden Ring, it's not that good, or what?
consistently
I wasn't.
pedantic.
Fine, but I wasn't finished.
Open world Dark Souls, good and bad.
When
I
I
see, I
said
understand.
this, and I said, "Hey, I want a couple of extra days because you and I have
Oh,
a
Akon,
fictitious
totally
history." And
being
frankly,
up.
Max, like
Improved on
I
every
think you've
section.
done a swell job moderating
Nice,
today. And
nice.
Sorry, what is it?
Nice meme, nice meme,
Thank
nice
At the
meme.
same time, we have a fictitious history, and I have
Science
no,
just goes
I
straight
have
to the
no
top.
reason.
Did you say frictitious?
I have no reason to expect that you will be unbiased
Sorry,
as a moderator.
Somebody said something
I now
earlier. I want to
do,
see Jade.
Incidentally, 'cause I think
He
you've
just
actually
used
done a
his mod
swell
power and
job
Gappy's
tonight.
chat to time me off for saying Bloodborne is resident sleeper.
but
Uh-oh.
I requested
A
an
Souls-like
extra,
Zelda-like
literally a
called
day.
Tunic?
Literally
Oh, that's on the
just
Game
today,
Pass, right?
just to
Looks
be
really
able to
cute.
actually sleep before this. I have not slept since Sunday.
Tunic.
Okay, since was that the initial debate? I can't remember the time.
I don't know.
Time
This
gone
is
for me.
completely irrelevant.
95%
because-
confidence.
Hang on,
Good
I'm not
job.
there yet. Give me 5
Yeah,
seconds.
and personally, the
As
linearity
soon
of
as
Dark
I
Souls is
said
something
that,
I like.
he
I don't
immediately went
like the
to,
idea
hey, can I use this private
of-
message as evidence that you were
I don't like the
canceling
idea of
out?"
open world
Because
Dark
he
Souls at
wanted to
all.
be able
That
to
seems
say
boring. Most
that
open
he
world
should
games
get
are
there from the
boring.
debate, which I
My favorite
absolutely was not.
segment, my favorite
The
sections of
parameters
Dark
of
Souls
being an
are
asshole
the
is not a
segments that everybody hates.
justification for
I
you
like
being an
Sense
asshole.
Fortress and I like
I
Blight
agree,
Town.
except
I just
insofar
think that they're
as being
super
an
linear,
asshole is
right? They're like
unnecessary
really,
defense.
Blight Town is linear? Blight Town is a massive open pit. What do you mean Blight Town is linear? You can miss like getting to chaos. Not bad of chaos. Fuck. Getting to Quail Egg is, I guess, linear. It doesn't feel linear, but I guess it's linear because you have to go down the whole thing, and then turn around and run this way, and then then... No, that's wrong. You get down the thing, you run around a bit, you find the bonfire down there. Then from the bonfire, you just get out and run on the side. And then eventually you have to run like all the way around, and then you get to it and go up. But that's not linear. I don't. Okay.
Really frustrating, but they're
It's
gauntlets,
not.
you know?
It's absolutely
and they feel
not.
really
You just
creative.
don't-
Sense Fortress is that's fine. Sense Fortress is literally linear. Yeah, but Blighttown is linear.
don't have to be in
What?
it because it just
You
hurts
kidding me?
you.
I don't feel
It
hurt.
hurts your
I
cause.
Are you yoga?
More
Yeah,
importantly, it
he's
might
just
not hurt
lying.
your career. It might help
President
your
Sunday
career,
is
but it
just a
hurts your
liar.
cause.
True.
He lied about
hurts
muting
me.
the group
wish-
chat.
listen, Max,
You
I
know,
wish that
I mean,
was
his
true,
lies
but
are
for God's
documented,
sake, we were
right? His
having,
lies are documented on Twitter.
7+
Every
hours
time,
of
like the things that he
litigation about
thinks
Destiny
are
children
evidence that I
neglecting
hate him
children
are literally
awful
just
stuff.
me calling
The
out,
fact of the
like,
matter is it
hey,
doesn't
address
hurt your
this.
cause if you
This
don't
seems
have one,
inconsistent. This
which
seems
means that if
inconsistent.
I am
Every single one of my
not
tweets with
really,
President
really
Sunday
fucking hard on
are
these
substantial in
points in the way
nature
that I
and
have
just
them,
like trying to get him to
somebody like
interface with
Wicked
something that
Supreme who's
seems
willing to
inconsistent.
post by on very dishonest and
That's it.
unreflexive
Like,
Well,
none of it is
fucking
dishonest.
12
None of it is
hours
meant to
of
injure
screaming at
or
Steven
you know
about
whatever, insult him or
Nick
anything
Fuentes.
like
Was
that.
You
I
were
an
screaming.
asshole?
I think actually minus that initial conversation with Logic,
Okay,
you did a
was I-
fantastically level job
Was I an asshole
in the initial conversation.
in any
I
of the
think-
conversations?
Well, I was going to
Have I ever gotten to check out Vati videos reviews? I've never heard of
was
them.
trying to turn it into a hug box. Yes.
You like
Because you were
Blighttown,
an
your
asshole to
immense
your cause.
patience
It's a
makes
different
total sense.
following
Yeah,
kind of-
Blighttown's
no,
interesting.
no.
In the following ones, I think you were
No, it's not
On
about
point.
liking Blighttown. It's the fact that he thinks it's linear.
to a fault.
Okay, so
I
it is
think
possible
President
to be
Sunday's
very
pedantry
upset,
is literally
to
just
be
because he
under
spent a
strain,
lot of
and to
time
not
and like
have to
he's
be
truly dedicated
passive-aggressive or be an
to like
asshole.
understanding political theory, and so he uses a lot of specialized
I just
terms,
don't-
and that's
again, I
his
just don't think
language
this
now,
showing
right? That's
That's
that
a
is
stick.
really
his
different
language.
from the
These
last
terms have a
conversation I
very
had with
special
Supreme. I
meaning
think
to
you guys
him.
were both assholes to
The
each other
meaning
the
of these,
entire
you know,
time, both
terms when
times.
applied in a
I think
political
I
context
don't have a
evokes
welcome
evokes
punch
something
about being
very
an
I-
specific
I
and very
needed to do a
specialized.
dance
This is
move.
true for
You
any
should,
discipline.
because you should,
So I don't
because
think
you're
even that he's
interfering- it's 'cause
well.
it's
Sometimes I think he's
interfering
being
with things that
pedantic for
you have
fun or to try to like
Why do you think so?
you know sit on his giant brain like the giant brain soy jack or
because
whatever.
You need people
But like I think he
outside of
gets a
your
lot
fan
of
base to
what do you call
believe
it? I think he gets a
that
lot
you
of
are not just
satisfaction out of being the guy that knows the super technical definition of this shit and like being able to show it off.
the
or
second
whatever.
part is that you need your own. You also need
Your usage
own
of property
fan
is
base.
standard.
Do
Listen,
not
the
be
reason
full
I
of
asked that
people
thing
who
about Chanson
enjoy
and
watching
property is just because I was like, I just want to
people
use
that
the
they
word that
enjoy
he's going to
what they
understand
enjoy
so that he
watching the
understands what I'm
spread
asking.
I think
That's
there's a
all.
real danger.
I don't care.
that you
I don't care
are
which word we
having
use.
your
I
ego
have
stroked by
I
people
have
telling
made
you they
no
like that you're doing
demands
God's
to
work,
adhere
but
to
really
one
they
rigid
just
or
like watching
specific
technical
definition of
I
any
wish
word
that
at
I could
all.
be
I'm
totally
happy to
honest
use
with you. I
whichever
had
words. Like,
unanimous
just get people to
messages
understand the
from
thoughts that are in my head.
but I've
That's what I
had
care
a lot
about.
of messages. This is one point that Wicked was actually correct on. I have actually had my patrons complaining about engaging with him at all. Truly. What I was going to ask you following that, hang on, let me see if I can
Wait,
insert
Demon
it.
Souls is the easy mode Dark
What I
Souls,
was going
really?
to ask you, yes.
Okay.
Did I ever play Tales of Symphonia? No,
I
that
was
sounds
gonna
like
say,
weeb
God
shit.
Damn it. You derailed me. Give me a moment, it'll come back.
I fucking derailed you.
Oh my god, what the hell?
Beaten by the
you see that on his
fucking
arm?
moderator. I
He
called
has
it.
like no.
I knew
The only problem with
exactly
him
Doesn't
being
have
so
like a-
involved
I
in
don't know if I can
theory
show
is I
this.
don't
He
think
doesn't have
we
like a
can
middle
relate
one.
to
He has like
yes,
two bands
I
on
think
the side
that's
of his arm.
true.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
Clever devil.
Like, grab your hand and do like this. Or
What I was
maybe
going
you'll
to
see it
say,
on something, because you can always see like
what I was
this. I don't
going
know
to
if it's, I don't know if it's visible that way.
Is that the truth?
But
of the
like,
matter
I have like
is,
a band
I
down the middle.
responded
He has like
to
one. He has like two
Wicked's
bands.
Request, and I hope this is actually
Wicked.
responding to the thing. from before, I forgot.
Wicked.
Ah,
I responded to Wicked's request to have.
Wait,
is that
only
exact- this is one point.
Whichever
doing
demands
God's
to
work
care.
that you
I don't
are
go to
really-
one
they
rigid
just
or
like watching
specific.
people stroked by
I
people
have
telling
made
you they
no
like that you're doing
demands
God's
to
work.
He's got,
adhere
like,
to
two bands.
one
Look at
rigid
this.
or
Like watching
specific
technical
definition. That's no.
Oh, there you can see it again.
Beaten by the fucking moderator. I called it. I knew it.
The only problem with him being so involved in theory is I don't think he can relate to real life. Yes, I think that's true. Super
ask
technical
a
definition of this
question.
shit and like being able to
Doesn't-
show it
it's
off.
The
or
Or
second
whatever.
part is that you need your own. You also need
Your usage
own
of property
fan
is
base.
standard. Listen,
not
the
be
reason
full
I
of
asked that
people
thing about
who
Chanson
enjoy
and
watching
property is just because I was like, I just want to
people
use
that
the
they
word that
enjoy
he's going to
what they
understand
enjoy
so that he
watching the
understands
spread
what
that
I'm
I do.
asking.
I think
That's
there's a
all.
real danger
I don't care.
that you
I don't care
are
which word we
having
use.
your
I
ego
have
stroked by
I
people
have
telling
made
you they like
no
that you're
Ah,
doing
demands
God's
to
work,
adhere
but
to
really
one
they
rigid
just
or
like watching
specific
technical
definition of
I
any
wish
word
that-
at all. I'm
totally
happy to
honest
use
with you,
whichever
I had
words. Like,
unanimous
just get get people to understand the thoughts that are in my head. That's what I care about.
A lot of messages. This is one point that Wicked was actually correct on. I have actually had my patrons complaining about engaging with him at all. Truly. What I was going to ask you following that, hang on, let me see if I can...
Wait, Demon Souls is the easy mode Dark Souls? Really?
I was going to ask you, yes.
Did I ever play Tales of Symphonia? No, that sounds like weeb shit.
Oh, there it is. Look, you can see it. You got 2 bands. 2, and I have like 1 down the middle. I can feel where those ones are. I don't have one on the right though. Weirdo.
You
I'm gonna make fun of him for that now.
Give me a moment. It'll come back.
I fucking derailed you.
Beaten by the fucking moderator. I called it. I knew
The only
exactly
problem with
what
him
was
being
gonna
so
happen
involved in
from
theory
now.
is I don't
As
think he
soon
can
as you
relate to
sent
real
that
life.
message.
Yes, I think that's true.
Clever devil.
I'm gonna keep Mick, by the way, just because he might like
What I was going to say
higher than Magnus. I just don't think like,
what I was
Magnus is
going
not
to
going
say.
anywhere. He's gonna stay at 80 for the rest of his life.
Is that the truth of the matter is, I responded to Wicked's request, and I hope this is actually
Wicked.
responding to the thing from before. I forgot.
Wicked.
I responded to Wicked's request to have
Wait,
a
there's no
second debate
bosses?
because
Rip.
he challenged me on it. And at a basic level, I'm a pig-headed, stupid son of a bitch. And
Code
my
Vein
pride
is
offended
weeb
and I
shit.
engaged.
I did try
And I took
try
it very
playing a little Code
seriously.
Vein.
I spent the entire day, one of my only days off, preparing for it.
Did
I
I
was
play Elden Ring
severely
yet? You know what?
disappointed when
I don't think I'm
not
ever gonna
one
play.
of the
I think I'm done with
substantive
Souls likes
points that I made was
forever.
actually
I don't think I ever need to.
and to be
This
totally
thing.
honest with
My
you, I
friend
was
that
really
knows me
disappointed
very, very
when,
well was like really excited for me to play
I
Sekiro.
legitimately tried
Two
to
friends
move
actually
into
that know me
something
very
I
well
know that
were
you're
really
unable
excited.
to.
One of them said it was
Tried to say,
a
okay,
10 out of
look,
10,
let's
right?
set this, let's
And
What's happening?
for him, I don't doubt that that's true.
Everything we think about each other. Let's
Actually,
He just
both of
has
them
it
said that they
unmuted
were-
in the background.
Sekiro was a
I don't
10 out of 10,
fundamentally think that
and
Wicked Supreme
unfortunately, I
is
was just
some kind of
plodding
evil
through it
actor
and
who
just
is
like
conniving behind
it was.
the scenes
I liked it. I liked the
to, like,
formula. It's
represent a
interesting,
false statement as
but like
true.
the Souls formula is just
With the
no
full knowledge
longer
that that's the
interesting to
case,
me.
I
Dueling
think the issue with Wicked
NPCs
Supreme, if I may be
is just like
allowed
you
to
know
comment at a meta level for
where
a
you're
couple
kind of just
seconds, I
like
think the issue
hacking
with Wicked
away
Supreme,
at them, and
again,
they do fucking a
is
billion
like you were
damage to you. It's
talking
just
about,
not
there
that
is this
fun for me
extrinsic
anymore, unless
ambience
there's something more
that
mechanical.
rewards people for a
Sekiro
particular
was
kind of
was fun for that
engagement,
reason. It is definitely
that
more
has no
mechanical,
actual
but like
connection
like
whatsoever
attempting
to
bosses a
serious
billion
engagement
times
or the
over,
truth
whatever
of
the
the matter.
hell.
And we can disagree about what the truth of the matter is. And frankly, there are right-wingers, overt right-wingers, who I would have a more sincere conversation with. The problem here is that he immediately went to trying to use rhetorical tactics in order to shut me up or to fluster me. And I'm not fool enough.
They're still talking to
treat
him
those
like he's
things
not in
as
the room.
anything
I
other
don't
than they are.
understand.
And so here we are.
Mm,
And honestly, Max, like,
that's none of that is true though.
I mean, you say so, but of course you would.
It's just me trying to direct and like expedite the conversation and not get hung up on pedantry and like just try to make sure that we understand each other as
If
quickly as
only
possible.
saying it would make it so, but this is the case we're in.
I
So,
understand that you feel that way. I'm telling you what my intention is. You can call me a liar if you want. I don't care. I just
Liar.
want to have my say out there.
Liar, liar.
Max, can I be brutally honest with you?
You say that every 30 seconds. Let's
I
True,
do.
absolutely. Oh my.
Am I ready for God of War Ragnarok? I didn't play God of War, unfortunately. Dude, the games I play right now are like
Look,
the
it's not quiet
Zachtronic
for like 30
games.
minutes.
I play the
I
worst
think you
games right
just-
now. I don't play fun video games, right? Like the AAA
That's
video
how
game
you
stuff
wanna
is
make
not
it.
super exciting to me right now. I
No,
like really
Ruby said
niche,
what
what Sunday
super
offers-
technical and like
what
hard
Sunday
fucking
offers an
puzzly
audience
type
is
games
a
right now.
chance to
Okay,
see
am
a
I done?
smug
Can we be done here?
nerd
Does anything happen?
with a slightly deeper voice
Slightly deeper voice. Slander.
than other smug nerds say all the mean things smug nerds wanted to say to bullies in school.
Oh, Max is. I think Max is on the money here. Yeah.
Aside from that, a PS convo is watching
haven't
him
played
pretend
Cult
he's
of
too
Lamb.
intelligent
Sounds
to actually
interesting.
engage in good faith beyond finding more and more complex ways to call the other side stupid.
I don't think Wicked's stupid. If he was stupid, I'd be kinder to him.
Well, you called me stupid a lot.
I did. That was being kind.
He's definitely not. He's
How do you
definitely not
qualify
going to be in
that?
the conversation.
Sunday, I have
Because
told you.
the
I
alternative
have,
is that you're lying.
we have
Liar.
talked about this in private. I have told
Yeah,
you
we
that I
did.
think you should stop calling people stupid.
You have. And I've told you you should stop abusing your girlfriend. I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
President Sunday, here's an honest question for you. Is
Yes.
this what you think having friends is like?
No, I keep my friends very much distant from this as a rule. There
That's
are no
not the
friends
question.
here.
So why do you do it?
Because I think what you are spouting
Why don't we
at the
put on a
universe at
worse set of
large is
tires?
wrong, and the sight of you offends me.
Well,
No, we
if
put
that
on
was
100%
true, it
tires.
feels like you would make a better attempt to engage honestly and like try to convince me otherwise.
What the fuck value is you're being convinced?
Well, wait. So if you think the things I'm spewing out
keeping
into
one
the
for the
universe are
race.
wrong,
Yeah, but I don't care.
Why wouldn't you want to convince me otherwise?
Because you're not relevant here.
Why wouldn't you want to impede my ability to do
audience.
this?
I'm trying to lay bare exactly what your positions are, which you've
Well,
done.
then what's your motivation for even entertaining this conversation?
I like Max.
What about the first conversation?
I don't like you.
Why should anybody ever take you seriously again?
Because I have many leather-bound books and an octopus. What do you have, Wicked Supreme?
I have like everything I've ever wanted. If you're really asking me.
It just
In
seems
all
like
seriousness, I'm a
President
little
Sonny
bit
just gets
curious.
drunk
I'm not even gonna
and then big word. I have not gleaned any new information from this conversation.
comment on it, one way or the other, just because I'm legitimately curious. What actually are you studying? Because I'm just curious where it comes from.
Your
So
mom.
currently,
Say your mom.
I
Say your mom.
I
Say your
probably
mom.
have like hundreds of credits from a
Say your
bunch of
mom.
different institutions. But I never felt the need to finish a degree because I've always been.
You probably have it like a general focus though, right? Like there's a thing that you.
Right now, on paper, I can't actually go to school without having a major at the current institution, right? So, my major is theater. I've been really fascinated with theater.
Oh, cool.
But I've also been doing
cool.
like a bunch of gen ed stuff on the side as well.
What's gen ed? I'm not actually familiar.
General education.
How did you not know a
Oh,
gen
right,
ed?
yeah.
But I've been basically a perpetual student my entire life.
Well,
I've
theater's cool. Does that like what do you do in what do you do for theater?
Unless Chris Wicked
Well, I
Supreme's
just started, but
Canadian,
I'd like to
and
act
there's-
on stage.
And gen ed is a Canadian term.
I could see you doing that. Particular kind of thing you want to act in?
I mean, the dream is always movies, right? Film acting or something like that. But I'm not sure. I might grow to really love stage acting because there's like.
I could see you as a stage actor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just starting, so I'm just beginning to take theater
You'd
classes.
be a killer Iago.
I would be a killer Iago.
Dude.
Do you mean Jafar?
Oh, he's not even improving. I'm
You
wasting
ever,
my
To
time.
be a good
Oh my
parrot?
God.
No, you ever
It's my warm up.
you're familiar with Othello, right?
No, it's not. Can't be.
No.
Okay, it's a Shakespearean play. Othello is, if memory serves, he's a decorated Moorish warrior captain thing.
Mhm.
And Iago is jealous of him, and it's sort of vaguely implied that the Moor slept with his wife. And he is a scheming genius who tries to undermine him. Really, really interesting, colorful character. I think you'd be a ripping Iago. That's what Iago from Aladdin is named after.
Oh, interesting.
He's basically like a vizier type character because he's a trusted friend and confidant of Othello throughout the thing until the end when it's revealed.
Cool.
Max, I gotta sleep. I'm happy to continue this conversation, this heart to heart, whenever you want, but I gotta sleep right now.
Sweet dreams to both of you.
No improvement.
See ya.
Cringe.
Sweet dreams, sweet prince.
It's just me and you, Max.
Yeah, but we're not gonna talk shit about Sunday.
I don't want to talk. You said everything. I think you said it all.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to say?
I feel like some obligation to address the fact that you and I are doing content together. I feel like that threw some people for a loop.
Sure.
Do you agree, or do you think it's not worth addressing?
We can address it. Yeah.
Okay. Some people were asking like, how did this get set up, right? I think most people's
Oh.
impression. Go ahead.
Yeah. I DM'd. I DM'd you.
Yeah.
We've been in touch though for the whole time. We've always sort of kept.
I
in
go
touch.
soft to hard.
Yeah.
And just see how that
I don't
goes.
think people know that. Like, I think people
medium
saw our
soft.
conversation and they thought we
I like
hated
going
each other's
soft to hard.
fucking guts or something. But you
The
and I have been
prob- oh.
DMing, like,
no, it's good.
not
That's
super
good.
consistently, but
So,
whatever. Like once a
Yeah.
month or so
That
over
one's
the
like,
over the
this
past
is
couple
not
months.
good.
Yeah.
Magnuson sucks at doing this.
I would
I
love to
consider
do.
you an
Alright.
ally.
This is okay.
Damn,
Anyways.
dude. As a white male, a cis white male, I'm an ally.
A white ally. Yeah.
I'm an ally to a Jewish man.
That's right.
Is that?
Mick did well with the strategy
It's all
last
Jewish,
time.
Not just me.
The strategy is the reverse
Well,
of that.
I mean, I'm
strategy.
Jewish too. Well, I like to tell people that, but I don't even know if it's true.
And we're gonna do this. This helps us if a safety card.
True. Especially when, if I'm like debating like far right wingers or something like that, I always
change the front end.
make them ask their own JQ about me. I've got my own JQ as whether or not I'm Jewish.
Yeah. If Nazis think you're Jewish, then you are, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I guess in that situation it doesn't matter. Like I don't really want to make them guess. I want to make them believe that I'm not properly, but
Yeah.
And Jews don't care. So there's not really a good benefit.
No, Jews are pretty exclusive, I find. They're very much like Jews like telling you you're not Jewish. Nazis
Yeah, they'll
like
ask
telling
about
you
my
that you
mother
are.
and then immediately
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, fuck you. That's what I say when I ask about my mother. Go fuck yourself.
well, listen, man. Now that the floodgates are open, I feel like this has opened floodgates for us doing content together again. If you ever wanted to,
Yeah.
I would love to just like I was being genuine earlier when I was like I'm way more interested in talking to you about like Rittenhouse or any situation. Like if there's any political situation or topic, or it doesn't have to be political, entertainment or something like that. Like I feel like you and I would be able to cut through the shit and like be able to talk about the thing really, really quickly.
I feel like we're gonna get in a fight if that happens, but okay.
That I'm okay with that. Like that's
Okay.
fun for me.
A meta fight.
Maybe we can have a
Oh,
safe word.
There's no safe word.
You don't
I
want to
do
make
that.
one?
No, safe words ruin sex.
Really?
Yeah. What's the whole point? What's the point of being like, oh, I want someone to take total control of me, but I'll have a password so they can't?
Yeah, I guess
No.
if danger is
No.
sexy, then like how can it be sexy if you know that there's like an instant eject seat like button right
Yeah.
there?
If you want that, we can do that, but there's no safe word.
Okay. Fuck it. I will say that like I guess if it goes into meta stuff and I think that it's just like boring and not worth doing it, like I guess I could just leave if it gets to that.
Yeah, that's the safe word. It's goodbye.
Are you afraid that it'll get to a point where if like you and I are like, hey, did you see Pacific Rim 2? Oh boy, did I? And we're like, no. When you're watching a movie, it's different than seeing a movie. Do you think there's any
No.
hope that I could just be like, listen, we can just go back to the movie or something?
No.
Or are we locked
In fact,
in?
I think your characterization of our differences and disagreements as that semantic is already passive aggressive. I think you're already taking shots at me and saying that I get stuck and you are the easygoing one who's fine to let things slide, but because something's wrong with me, I can't.
Okay, well, that was my intention. Just the idea that we
Doesn't-
might get stuck in a mire like that real quickly.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your intention was.
This is you trying to suck me in.
No, I'm not trying to suck you in. I
You
would
are.
like
You're trying to
talk you.
suck me into a meta conversation right now.
We're having one already, but yeah, let's talk in the future, and that sounds good.
All right. Take it easy, amigo.
All right. you
Oh, thanks for doing this. I think, should I be thanking you?
Anytime. I don't know.
All right. Take it easy.
All right, you too.
Okay. That ended probably right around where it should have. I felt appropriate. I felt good. Whoop. Whoop. It's funny, I have Max's chat open. Let me paste this one up for you guys. Or let me take a screenshot of it. It's funny, man. I've always said that a content creator's audience is like
How did he just use to take
so
a screenshot?
consistently just a reflection of the content creator. I remember when I was like really the first time I did YouTube was with fighting game stuff, and I was kind of on the fence about doing it. And I said like, I don't know, I feel like it's late in the game. I feel like it's a super saturated market. And a friend of mine who works in tech, like worked in Silicon Valley and stuff, was a like Web3 engineer or something, or a Web2 engineer for like dating sites and stuff. Got to see a lot of the back-end statistics and worked with the data on a lot of these apps and stuff. He was like, no, dude, now is the best time. Now is not the worst time. It's not that it's a saturated market. It's that the audience is bigger than ever. And especially when it comes to YouTube, when you're talking about like 5-10 minute videos, that's like everybody wins, because nobody's watching one 5-10 minute video and getting on with their day. People are consuming hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of YouTube. And if these people are making 5 to 10 minute videos, even if it's daily, they can split the same audience between like 500 different fucking creators. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. And that's one of the first things that I noticed was that the people who end up there's a market for everybody, right? There's a Wicked Supreme market. You guys are part of the Wicked Supreme market. There's something about what I say that resonates with you. It's not just that you think it's interesting, but there's a part of me and a part of you, right? There's something in the way that I interact with the world or think about things or my mannerisms or the way that I speak about things that you guys feel is correct and is a reflection of yourself, I think. By and large. Not for every individual. But I looked over at Max's chat just now and I saw this. I like Wicked Supreme. I think he has a lot of defense mechanisms, but I don't think he's aware of them. And when pointed out, he's pretty receptive. I'm curious about this. Like this seems like a Max thing to say, isn't it? I'm here for the beard. Yeah, I bet you have a beard.
Ça appartient à Trudeau.
Let's take a look. Stardust rated, and also there was a $20 super chat from Revolt a while ago. Oh, fuck. Thank you, Revolt Rise. If you're still out there, please let me know in chat. Damn, that's awesome. Appreciate the hell out of you. And Stardust, thank you for the raid as well. I totally didn't see it. Doritos or Cheetos? Oh, that's actually really tough. One thing's for sure. It sure as fuck ain't the Cheetos Puffs. Puffs are disgusting. It's all about the crunchy ones. And Doritos, Cool Ranch is disgusting as well. So for me, it's going to be between Nacho Cheesier and the crunchy Doritos. I watch Destiny. Does that make me a debate bro? Well, there's some part of... Well, it depends. Actually, Ghostface, what do you watch this content for? What is your favorite Destiny content? L game takes and chip takes? Which ones? I'm sorry. If you can fucking play Souls-like games, like every single one over and over and over, you're the idiot that's fucking it up for the rest of us. You're the fucking asshole that's like making sure that they make nothing but Souls-likes for over a decade.
Based,
when they could be making Armored Core or another Kingsfield.
I'm gonna go play
those games are godlike.
Just to spite this man.
Well, Armored Core is not godlike. Kingsfield is godlike. I feel like they never did a good Armored Core game. I feel like Armored Core always fuck, actually Armored Core is like the Dark Souls of robot games. The very first one, but Armored Core 2 I played and it felt really sterile. I watched Destiny for the Factorio gameplay. I feel like you'd want to watch somebody good. When you and MrGirl finally have a chat, sincerely appeared to bring up a meta convo and have him engage, but from there just troll pick a meme worthy meta convo. I don't know. Have I played Outer Wilds? Loved it. Favorite game of last year, I think, or 2 years ago. Has been excellent. Outer Wilds, rather. Sorry, Outer Wilds. Yeah, Outer Wilds. The one where you're like a space anthropologist and you have to solve the mystery before the spoilers. Yeah, Outer Wilds.
Whoa! Well, I didn't hear it. It doesn't matter. We're leaving now. Fuck you, Wicked Supreme. Well, in a game I don't know if I'll ever play. Duh. I don't think there's anything else I want to do. I might just skip out of here. Yeah, you know? So I'm gonna skip out of here. I appreciate you. And Okay, you're welcome. Goodbye.